Hello everyone, I'm Steele.
And I'm Teal.
And we're with Studio Blue.
Welcome to our walkthrough of Rosenhearts, basically our director's critique.
Exactly. And guess who's here, everybody? Say hello, everyone. Say hello to Teal. Teal, say hello, everyone.
Hi, I'm back. I had to take a long rest yesterday. I slept for 12 hours and I feel much better today.
Yeah, it was...
So sorry for having to bug out with the stream yesterday.
Yeah. She's okay. Well, Hi Blitz,
we thought you fainted. Yeah, it's... Steele made it sound like I'd fainted, but no.
What it was, like I said...
Hello, waifu!
Asleep on the dining room table. And that was it. So, but she's okay. And, it's hard when you love someone, you're going to worry about them no matter what. So, but she's okay. She actually
It's normally because I have so much energy, and it's just odd for me to just lay down like that.
Yeah. So let's go say hello to people in chat. Hello, Damien. Hello, Cheebs. Hello, Highblitz. Hello, Ventus. Hello, Lacing. I'm sure there's other people.
There's Ventus and Nandi.
Awesome. Okay. So this was actually the idea of Jeff, also known as Will Black, that we go through the RPG Maker MV demo of our game, Rosenhearts, as sort of a director's commentary, or as Teal said, director's critique. What we're going to be doing is going through the demo and stopping all the time.
All the time. This is going to be us stopping, providing commentary, pointing things out.
If you have any questions about how we did a certain section for either Teal or I, feel free to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, the commands for us critiquing, ranting, laughing should be working. Warn you now, we're going to be critiquing a lot, so those can go up into the double or triple digits tonight. Each person should have at least a few seconds cooldown, so it shouldn't be spammed. Mods, please keep an eye on this. We've never actually done this before. All right, so let's jump in. We can actually talk about the title screen. Obviously, everyone knows we're using a Mog Hunter plugin, but we wanted to do something just a little different. That logo was made by a fan in the community. Unfortunately, I don't have all my notes in front of me, but I have the name written down, and that person just made this for us, and it was very sweet of them to do that. Originally, we had some piece of artwork that didn't really show the game off very well.
The artwork that was behind it was very distracting, and
yes.
This now with the darkened background worked so much better.
Yes. The little fog effect, and then we have, of course, both white and red rose petals, which is actually a pretty important thing. We'll get into it, I guess, a little later, but the idea of being a white and red rose, that is a theme throughout the Rosenhearts stories. Anyway, so we're going to go here, and we're going to briefly look at the credits. And the reason that I'm doing that is twofold. There's a bug on me. Yay. Yay, Houston. All right, so... We have a bunch of stuff here. We have writing and level design by both of us. There's our boy Highblitz doing the menu design, best UI ever. Yukum-kun did an amazing job with the action sequences. So during the fights, when you see Naomi or Phileas or Victoria flying around the screen, that's them. That's Yukum-kun, he understands action sequencing. And these are all the different asset creators, including, unfortunately, someone on here who I believe has since been shown to be an asset thief, and it's unfortunate. We don't ever say you should ever steal assets. In fact, that's probably the most disgusting thing you can do is steal someone else's work and pass it off as your own.
Yeah.
So eventually we'll have to go ahead and remove that after tonight. We'll go back and take any notes you guys give, and we'll go ahead and... upload a new build with things like the asset thief's name removed. Hello, Rilo. Alright, so we have our options here, and that's pretty much good. The little fireflies are indicative of the fairy nature of the game. We're going to keep things the way it is. If you have trouble hearing us, please let us know. Shall we jump in, Teal?
Let's jump in.
Let's jump on in. And Metal Slime Invasion, thanks to Lacing. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys everything, including the disclaimer. And instead of reading the disclaimer, we are going to Please do a director's cut commentary.
On the options menu.
But we're going to go over why we did this.
Thank you for the metal slime invasion, Lacing.
Yes. So we got Victoria and Naomi, and we're not going to read this because you guys have seen it enough. If you look at Drifty or Hawks or even Jax, everyone reads this. But we felt it was necessary to tell the community that this is not going to be a full version of a game anymore. We are literally moving this over to a 3D RPG engine, Unreal. And Teal and I had a conversation and decided it was best we let the community know. So that's why we did this little intro.
Yes.
We also want to let people know and start getting them aware this is a very dialogue and choice heavy game. Very deep into people talking, because that's what they did back in the Victorian era, right, Teal?
It was lots of conversation. Our story is moved along through conversation, as is character development.
Exactly. In fact, people back in the day... Oh! Thank you so much for the host.
Thanks for the host, Damien.
That was a young lady named Ritza Gallus. She is on the Studio Blue server, but she primarily functions Discord independently. She is I believe I found her on Artists and Clients.
We did.
Yeah, very, very talented young lady. So she's kind of given us the initial look of how the Rosenhearts will look. We'll go through several iterations prior. Yes, that is a mystical sword of Ra. We'll talk about that too. Anyway.
But yes, it's similar to visual novels, but unlike visual novels, we do have action and battles and things like that.
Right. This is the Studio Blue logo. I know how to use animation software. I've been using it for years, so I figured let's just do that. Thank you. That is actually a classical music piece. I don't have it in front of me, but that is a real one. Okay.
Classical music is going to be the driving force of this game.
No, Cheebs, it's not. It is an RPG with just a lot of dialogue, because you play a lot of the game. You move around, you explore, you fight, but it does have a lot of that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Damien. It does have a lot of that flavor of just long conversation. And here we have a little animation I made rather quickly, actually, one afternoon, of Victoria opening her eyes. Now, we are going to supply the voices.
Yes, we're going to supply the voices.
Teal will be supplying the voice of Victoria and Twinkletoe. Victoria will be very sweet sounding, of course, and Twinkletoe has sort of a gentle, wispy fairy voice. I'll be doing Naomi, who's a lot brasher, and it's going to be funny because I'm not really a 15-year-old girl, and Phileas Fogg. So these are the actual voices we imagined in our characters' heads. Oh, yeah, so much money, Ventus. All right, shall we begin, hon?
Let's begin.
All right, if you have any questions at any time, people, throw them out. Let's go.
My head. Where am I? What's going on?
Use the arrow keys to move, use Z or enter to interact. The menu is currently disabled. So in the opening scene, you have a variety of choices. The only thing you cannot do is leave. Now, the majority of LPers go around and start exploring immediately, trying to open up treasure chests or talking to the sparkly point right there, which is an info point. But we're going to do what players usually do, which is run off the map and into the woods and get killed by a wolf.
We're not.
We're going to go ahead and talk to Naomi, because it doesn't really matter who you talk to first. But we're going to have Victoria check on her sister. So here we go.
It really is a good idea to have Victoria talk to her sister first, because her sister is the most important thing to her.
First off, hi Hawk, thanks for making it to the stream, buddy.
All right.
Second, it's not so much as an attack as an observation, I say, rubbing my non-existent beard.
Hawk, you're not a player.
Damn. Okay, hi, let's. Thank you for coming, Hawk. Always.
Thank you. All right, let's get.
Go.
Sister.
What the heck hit me?
Naomi, are you all right?
Be doing that awesome voice.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I felt better.
The way Victoria positioned Naomi would be the first thing. Exactly, Rilo. And in the 3D game, by the way, when the character does open her eyes, she's going to look at something in her right hand, which is extremely important. We'll tell you about it in a little bit. It's called Chronometer, and it's one of the most important things in the game, in the series. But then the next thing she will see is Naomi laying there kind of in a crumpled heap. All right, here we go.
So we're going to do a better job of focusing on Naomi from the get-go.
Yeah. To kind of nudge the player in that direction, but there's still the choice to go talk to Phileas or a pickaxe first.
Yeah.
But everything's still where it's supposed to be, so I'll survive. Can't get any worse, you know.
One thing, Naomi is an extremely positive character. All right. Ooh.
Oh, sister.
And then the hug.
Hug.
So that's a big thing. People in that age, in that era, were especially young ladies, were very physically affectionate. It was young girl. In fact, if you ever watch the movie Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Gary Oldman, you'll see a scene where Mina and Lucy are basically playing in the garden out in the rain, and they even share a quick kiss. It's chaste, but that's normal for the era.
All right, so what happened?
Girls often walked and linked arms and that sort of thing. It was very common.
It will be, Rilo. If you have seen this is a limitation of my understanding of how the Mog Hunter particle engine works. If you have seen the rain scene in the Studio Blue server, I did a posting of what the battle scene looks like for the Black Forest. That's more it. It's a torrential rainstorm. They are lucky to be alive. All right, here we go.
So what happened?
I'm not sure. One moment we were flying in Mr. Fogg's balloon, the next everything was black.
The way the game actually begins is going to change slightly dependent upon the feedback we've been getting and decisions Teal and I make over the course of the dev. But suffice to say, user control will pick up around the crash site.
Oh no, Mr. Fogg!
Holy heck. Yeah, we should probably go check on him and make sure he's still alive.
I agree. Let's get going and make sure that Mr. Fogg is still alive.
Alright, and Naomi joins. Now, some RPGs in RPG Maker have the characters follow in a train. Others do not. And most RPGs that don't use RPG Maker don't have the characters follow in a train. We chose to have it just be like this because we're emulating the video game style like Dragon Quest XI or Eternal Sonata.
Right.
So there's really never a reason to have characters in a train, even in RPG Maker. Not a bad thing to do if you do it, but we've always felt it actually clutters the screen too much. Oh, cool, Damien. All right, here we go. Time to get British.
Yeah.
Oh, where in the world am I? And that's not really his voice. It's kind of hard for me to do Phileas, but anyway.
Mr. Fogg, are you all right?
In a damn wagon train. Exactly, Damien. Oh, that's cool to know. Oh, right, because Lacing, if I'm not mistaken, it emulates the old 8-bit Nintendo. And if that's the case, that's a callback to an older era, and that's perfectly okay. Nothing a good gin and tonic at the club can't fix, although my head is ringing a bit more than I'd like, if I'm being totally honest. But more importantly, how are you girls doing?
I'm all right. A little battered, but otherwise uninjured.
Why, nothing a good gin and tonic at the club can't fix.
And you're too young to drink hard spirits, Naomi. Exactly, Damien.
Ow.
Oh, my precious balloon is ruined. No matter, we have our lives, and that is what is important. So, people have figured out over time that Phileas Fogg, and he actually says it, is the protagonist from Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days. And he is a upbeat and positive man who tries to look on the bright side of things. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it around the world in 80 days.
That's true.
Yes, right. And that is another thing, Rilo. We will be changing that in the Unreal version. The characters will be limping. They'll be holding on to, their body. We're also going to implement escape after the first couple of battles. Unlike in this demo where you can't escape at all.
Right.
So we have addressed that based on people's feedback. Hey, Tron.
Hey there, Tron.
All right.
So, what happened?
A freak accident, I think. Looks like lightning hit the balloon. We're lucky to be even alive.
Oh, that stinks. And here I was hoping we'd get to Munich without a hitch. Shows how much luck we've got.
Agreed. We should probably search the crash site for salvage and then get to shelter. The storm is pretty bad. And now, more
Yep.
tutorial. And... boom.
And boom, the save journal appears.
Yes. And little logo there. Okay. So we will be using a UI system in order to show things such as quests. Yes, actually there is. Blue is character names, green is locations, yellow is enemy names. Then you have things like... I'll point it out as I go in because I don't remember. Lots of flowers. All right. So here's the first thing. Let's go ahead and save because why the
Yes,
heck not?
the pop-ups are going to have the roses and the vines. Again, the theme of roses is very strong in the game.
Right. And we wanted a journal to be how people save their game because back in the day, during the Victorian era, people would keep journals. Everyone kept a journal.
Everyone kept a journal.
So this is a journal where we keep our adventures. And here we are, and we saved our game.
Yes.
And I clicked really quickly because I'm trigger happy. So here we have a lot of things that can be explored. Now, I want to go ahead and call attention to what just happened a few seconds ago when we went to Naomi first and then went to Mr. Fogg. And if you recall, Fogg said, how do I feel? Nothing a good gin and tonic at the club can't fix. How are you all? And Naomi responds with the exact same thing. That actually triggers a flag. It's as you get near, it go ahead and triggers a new sprite. It's using one of Mog Hunter's plugins. So here's a bottle of wine. Keep in mind what I just said about gin and tonics at clubs.
A cracked bottle of wine. It was going to be our celebratory toast when we reached Munich, the capital of Bavaria.
It was a good vintage too. Your father gave it to me.
Spirits go right to my head anyway.
And what was that you said about wanting a gin and tonic?
Quiet you.
So what just happened was the dialogue at the bottle changed. Because earlier we had Naomi in the party when we talked to Phileas and they had that little exchange about a gin and tonic. The game in general, this demo, but the game in general, will have a lot of that. If you make one conversational piece first, the characters will reference it in later conversational pieces. That is intentional, because we want the world to feel as alive as possible. Now we're going to go ahead and explore, and I don't remember exactly how to get that ring, so we'll see if we can do that.
Ventus asked, how did you event that journal opening?
Like I said, Mog Hunter plugin. It senses you when you're 2 tiles away and opens up this. Okay. Will it just be...
Rilo, it's going to be white roses as well as red roses.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at some clothing here.
My clothes, my nice clothes, all ruined.
I believe that's the case, Rilo, yes. So that's also a big thing, too, in their era. People back then, clothing was very important, especially for gay ladies in Victoria's social class.
Yes.
Which is your British aristocracy. How many times did a person change?
In the higher aristocracy,
Yes.
9 times a day.
9 times a day. So Victoria lost a lot of clothes, and she's only currently got the clothes she's wearing. Hawk.
I'm so sorry, sister.
So yes, I think you are right, Rilo, but we're going to try it anyway. Here we go.
Naomi's clothes, the rains completely soiled them.
I really like that dress.
While Naomi's rougher around the edges, she is still a 15-year-old girl. Ergo, she kinda likes clothes too. Don't worry, Naomi. We can get you another one when we get to Munich. 2 or 3 if you like. Imagine wearing clothes. Thank you, Tron.
You're right. I'm here with you in Victoria. That's what's important.
So we're seeing a lesson start to be learned.
Yes.
Thanks, Mr. Fogg.
The girls do go through several mentors throughout the course of their journey, people who they learn lessons from, because that's part of the theme is they're impressionable young women, not yet debuted in society, so not yet recognized as adults. Learning, okay, what does it mean to be an adult? And right now, Phileas is teaching them material possessions aren't as important as those little intrinsic things.
As people.
people, yeah.
A lockbox that I kept some of my personal effects in, but now it's broken and the contents are gone.
Oh, sister, I'm so sorry.
I doubt this will make you feel better right this moment, Victoria, but they're just things, and things can be replaced. Okay, so Rilo, 16 was the age of recognized adulthood. However, outside of that, you were considered an adult when you could start having children, especially in the lower social classes.
Right, in the working class,
Yeah.
that was true. In the aristocracy and nobility, a young girl had to go through a debut.
Right.
And once she was debuted, she was eligible to be on the marriage market.
Exactly. So that's where the term debutante came from. So Victoria and Naomi right now are undebuted. They're not yet debutantes. Once they are debutantes, then as Teal said, the gentlemen can approach and try to negotiate marriage.
Right.
Debut is a ceremony. It's like a party. Right, Teal?
Yes, it is a formal presentation of the young lady to society, generally by her father or another male relative.
After the debut usually takes place in front of someone of importance. It doesn't have to be a monarch. It could have been an important person in that society, important magistrate, someone. And that person officially recognizes the young lady into society. Now for men, because the Victorian era was not without its sexism problems, young men were considered to be adults anywhere between the ages of 14 and 16. Just depending on their social class, their upbringing, and what they were doing.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Things can be replaced.
I don't know. My dresses were completely ruined. I don't have anything left to my name.
Rilo, you were correct. So the dialogue slightly changes because we've searched other things. Oh, okay. So maybe not. Maybe we haven't done it right. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Because... see, all of this is nice dialogue. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, remember what Mr. Fogg said about my clothes, right? We can replace them when we get to Munich. We can even use prettier ones than what you used to have.
Yes, you're right, sister. I should be grateful to have my life. All right, let's focus on getting to Munich safely.
There we go. So it's Naomi's, Victoria's. Agreed. And we'll get to this in a second, why this is important. So it's Naomi's, Victoria's, then the box. There we go. Okay, boom, 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 boom. And then this little bit, and then should advance one more. There we go.
You know what, Mr. Fogg? You're right. Everything in here can be replaced. You, me, and Naomi cannot. I'm going to count my blessings and move onward.
Hey, sister, it looks like one of your small rings made it through the crash.
And so it did. Papa gave me this ring on a trip to London when I was 12 years old. I remember. That was the day he took me to Parliament to watch the proceedings. There was so much harumphing.
Okay, so this literally does nothing. It adds a small scene during the epilogue between Victoria and her father. That's it. There's no bonus. It is a key item. But the idea is, as you explore the world, and as you gain little things, the world opens up and becomes more alive. So this shows a bit of a character journey. First they were depressed, then Victoria starts to see the light, and then finally, everything's going to be as okay as it can be. And by the way, the engraving says, my snowdrop, that is... harumphing. My snowdrop is Duke Westmoreland's nickname for his daughter.
Yep.
It's cute. Harumphing. Watch Blazing Saddles is the best thing I
Please
can
watch
say.
Blazing Saddles.
So harumphing is something that stuffy old men do when they
Harumph, harumph, harumph. Harumph.
That man didn't give me a harumph.
Harumph.
Watch your ass. Great movie. Okay, so let's move on because we've spent almost 30 minutes here. All right.
A coil of rope. It's frayed and torn in so many places it's not usable.
Oh, well, darn, we could have used some strong nautical rope.
We could have used any kind of rope. Prove me wrong.
And we're moving along now.
Hee hee hee.
That's Naomi.
Did you
for
guys notice? Naomi looked at the camera.
Yes. We never do gross fourth wall breaks.
No, we don't.
But, having said that,
A broken pickaxe. Completely useless.
I had that old pickaxe back when I was extracting ore samples from the Swiss Alps.
What were you looking for? Gold? Silver?
Rocks.
Oh, I see.
It was a geological dig.
Right. You know, I'm just gonna go away now.
Suit yourself. And somebody said I could be a child villain on Nickelodeon. Thank you, Tron. Ah, well, it was a good run, old friend. Let us move on before the lightning strikes.
A busted shovel. We can't make use of this.
Thank you, Ventus.
Well, I guess I won't be digging my own grave. Sorry, sister. That was a bad joke.
I'm not sure I understand.
Never mind. Just, moving along now. Just, hitting the old trail. Just, scooting out onto the east side of London. Yeah.
Alright. This thing.
Yes.
Rosenhearts takes place in an alternate fictional version of the Victorian era. However, the real-time period was truly fascinating. These glowing info points offer random tidbits regarding the actual historical era. They will be voiced over in the full version, and finding them all will grant an achievement. So yes, this right here. Let's go ahead and have Tori talk.
I'd better check this one right here again to see what I can learn.
Alright, so very early on, Teal and I decided that one of the things we are going to do in the Rosenhearts games is we're going to teach about the Victorian era, we're going to teach about the world, and we're going to teach about steampunk. The different pieces, parts, including the literature.
Right.
We want to impart some knowledge because it is a fascinating time period. So these info points, which will now go to a screen with a book, displaying the information and doing a well-cultured voiceover, will give that info.
Right now, the scroll is too fast
Way
to
too
read
fast.
aloud.
And every single person we have seen, from Hawk to Drifty to Toasty, haven't made it. And we're not about torturing people or live streamers, so instead the game itself will handle it. This thing, you have to go faster than me during my sign-off. You know, if you like what you saw, lay the Smackdown sign-off.
Right.
So, yes, for those people who LP this game, please don't torture yourself and try to read this out loud. It's too quick. Suffice to say, this basically says the Victorian era and defines what it is. It was literally during the reign of Queen Victoria of England's life. The era that followed right after was the Edwardian era, in which her son, Prince Bertie, who became known as King Edward, he reigned. And then before that was the Georgian era with the King George. Yes, absolutely, Ventus. You got it. Both Ventus and Rilo, that is exactly...
Those are good, yeah.
That is exactly what we decided we're going to do.
That's it.
It's going to be pages in a book with illustrations, and it's going to, the cultured voice will read out a little bit, then it'll turn over with new text. The cultured voice will read out, and then it'll keep going.
Right.
And from the menu, you'll be able to reaccess this anytime you want.
We're definitely putting it in the menu.
Yes.
This is all that remains of Mr. Fogg's hot air balloon.
My journal is in there. The one I've recorded all my adventures in. It's utterly ruined. How absolutely unfortuitous.
Did you have a lot of important memories in there, Mr. Fogg?
Total slimes of culture, Ventus.
Yeah.
Yes, all of my travels and findings, all of my scientific discoveries, ruined by a single stroke of misfortune. Not foreshadowing, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Just be sure to hold on to your memories, girls. They are precious things. In many ways, we are defined by them. I say, misreading my own lines.
I think I understand.
Yeah, me too. Sorry you lost your journal, Mr. Fogg. If it'll help, I can buy you another one when we get to Munich.
Well, that's very sweet of you, Naomi, and I might just take you up on that. But for now, we should get moving before our situation worsens. So if you do this scene, when they get to Munich, Naomi does actually mention going and buying a journal for Phileas.
Right. We'll have several shops in Munich. One of them will be a paper craft shop
Exactly.
where they sell journals and writing paper and things like that.
We're going to have more than just your item shops, which in this case we call them pharmacies.
We'll call them pharmacies.
Pharmacies are where you buy your healing items. There's not going to be weapon shops that didn't exist. And armories are, well, that's the blacksmith. But you're going to go to a silversmith, a goldsmith, a clockmaker.
You'll have jewelers. You'll have bakers, sweet shops.
Yes.
And we're going to have a very special shop, a chocolatier.
Yes. All right, let's look at the treasure chests.
Yes, the treasure chests.
Every time we introduce a new item in the Rosenhearts, we make sure that the characters have a conversation. Yes, that's why Ventus, we're doing it in Unreal where you don't have a limitation.
Yes, we're going to... We may show you the finished blueprint. Oh my god.
Because it's basically just a Boolean in Unreal, and you just set the Boolean variable. All right.
Okay, here we go. These medkits are quite good for healing injuries. However, they require considerable time to apply, and therefore aren't suited for use during battle.
When we were in London, preparing to leave, we went through all the supplies to make certain we had these.
Hey, Wolf. Welcome to the stream.
Hey! Good evening, Wolf.
Yes, she did. Victoria is quite well read for a girl her age. She knew even some of the more scientific names like salicylate. No one is able to... The funny thing, and Teal and I giggle about salicylate, no one, and I can't pronounce it.
Salicylate.
Thank you. No one has figured out on stream what it is yet. Like, none of the LPers know what that is. We're going to leave it alone until someone does.
I bet Wolf knows.
Salicylate. What's that? Can you eat it?
It's a miracle of modern medicine, Naomi. It clears the mind, relieves aches and pains, and increases the flow of blood throughout the body. We actually spell it out.
That's great, real great. So, yeah, anyway. You must really like medicine, sister.
I guess I rather do, don't I?
Which is a plot point. One of Victoria's little character journeys.
All right, the medkits are secured. Let's get moving along.
We have been in the opening crash sequence for over 30 minutes because there's so much packed in here. And one of the things we have been told by various people who've given us feedback, both on YouTube and off, is that a little too much is packed into the crash site. So we are going to spread it out over a opening area. Okay, here's some of our favorite dialogues are here in the next one.
Right.
Bandages.
Aha! These sanitized bandages are perfect for binding any injuries that we may sustain. They are also quick enough to apply that we can use them in a battle.
Yes, it is important that we differentiate between healing... It is important that we differentiate between healing items that we can use in or out of combat, and ones that we can only use outside of a fight. Items restricted to outside of battle generally heal far better. Another design choice of Teal's and ours. The items like the medkits that can only be used outside of battle heal more.
They do.
The ones inside, like your epinephrine and your bandages, heal less.
Why is that?
Apart from us having never been in a fight, there isn't enough time to properly use a medkit when someone is trying to hurt you. When you think about it, it makes sense. Medkits require wound cleaning, disinfection, and suturing. No one can do that while being attacked.
I bet I can do it.
What was that, sister?
Oh, nothing. So, bandages, yeah. Interesting stuff.
Right.
Not impressed with Twin.
Uh-huh.
Right then. So now that these are in our inventory... Actually, I should say it like the Spiffing Brit. Right. So now that these are in our inventory, let us move onward. And here we go.
Oh, yeah, this is our favorite box right here.
Y'all know what's coming.
Y'all know. Leech
6
times
leeches.
6. Get that, guys? Leech times 6.
Right.
Gross! I hate leeches! However, they can bleed the poison out of your body, so there is a use for them. I guess I should take them with me. I don't want to, though.
Oh, come on, sister, they're cute.
They're what?
They're cute and cuddly, see? This one's name is Herbert.
Oh, get that thing out of my face!
Now you've hurt Herbert's feelings. Don't worry, Herbert. I'll never forsake you. You and I are best friends forever.
Really? Mr. Fogg, you think it's...
Nope, I'm not getting involved in this whatsoever.
Oh, well, at least he's happy. All things considered, that's enough for me. Well, they're stowed away. Herbert excluded. Time to get moving.
So the significance is this, Hawk, and since no one has done this on stream, we'll show you. Go into your inventory and take a look at the number of leeches. Let that sink in. So that is something we did. So to answer Rilo's question, does Phileas have a reason to believe they will be in combat? No, they have not. If you're making a suggestion, Rilo, please let us know what it is. But it is important that we differentiate that. Perhaps after the first battle. I don't know. Let us know what you think, Rilo. So yes, one of the leeches, we give them 6 leeches because one of them is forever gone because it's now Herbert.
It's now Herbert.
This is
Can't
what
get
Naomi
around
does.
it.
This is normal, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Naomi's going to be doing stuff like this all throughout the game.
No.
No, Herbert's not playable.
But Wilbur is, and we'll say nothing else.
Yeah. What is this place?
Exactly. So, Rilo, that's one of the things that we were thinking of doing, and this feedback kind of pushes us in that direction, that we don't actually have them find the healing items until after the first battle. Or at least not the bandages. So then that would make more sense. But you bring up an excellent point, and yes, that is something that has been brought to our attention. Why would he talk about combat if they haven't been any?
Right.
Okay, here we go. Every area gets an intro sequence like this. A pan of the area and the name of the place going across. I recognize this place from my travels across Europe. This is the Black Forest, a region of untamed wilderness between the countries of France, Belgium, and Bavaria. Back in the day, Bavaria, which was southern Germany, was different than Prussia and Luxembourg.
Yes. And place names are in green.
Yes, good. Enemies in red, there you go. We need to be extremely careful. If we get too close to an enemy, we'll be forced to fight for our lives, and we're too weakened from the crash to escape combat. So up until this point, the characters will have been limping, leaning against stuff, showing their physical weakness and fatigue.
Yes.
And for this area, assume that in the finished game, this would be the opening tutorial area. And during that time, you can't flee from combat. You'll be able to flee after what would be effectively the first cutscene. It really did, Graceless.
Yes, it did.
And Prussia was the Teutonic Knights. You could tell the Teutonic Knight background in Prussia. All right, here we go.
We can't run away once we're in battle?
Not at this time, no. Maybe we'll be able to utilize some sort of escape function at some point in the future, but for now we'll just have to fight. This is kind of an apologist. This is the game explaining why you can't run during the demo. Not handled the best, but will be fixed in the 3D version, absolutely. Alright, let's move on.
Yuck.
You can quote her on that.
Those wolves. Oh no, we're being attacked by an enemy.
Don't worry, girls. Just follow my lead and we'll get through this together. We actually took a hint from a video game called Eternal Sonata. Eternal Sonata, for the first few fights for character group 1, 2, and 3, when you get into the first few fights, the characters have a conversation about how to fight and how to use the battle system. We kind of took that idea here for Rosenhearts.
Yes.
Loved Eternal Sonata, Graceless. Alright, here we go. We're going to have... Oh, go ahead.
What do we do?
Yeah, poor Chopin. Graceless, not for a while. We're still working on things like the battle scene and the logic. A lot of work in blueprints right now. If you notice
There's a lot of blueprints.
On the work in the Rosenhearts progression channel, you'll see some screenshots I posted about 2 weeks ago. That's the result of me building auto splines so you can lay down an invisible line in the engine and it creates trees and stuff. So, yeah, we're trying to optimize from the ground up instead of just throwing assets at a map until a game appears.
This is not a fishing expedition.
No. A lot more. But once you get started, Graceless, you can do some amazing stuff. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
The Battle Basics Conversation Tutorial. And we'll go through this, but then I want to explain a little bit about that chronometer I mentioned earlier and how that will work with the battle, which is called the Fate Battle System. That's what we call it in the 3D game. First, stay calm. You have all the time in the world to plan your actions. The battle timeline shows whose turn it currently is and who is up next. You can use it to strategize on what action to perform based on the turn order. Your regular attacks will cause more damage than techniques. This is so important.
Yeah.
And every LP we've watched, people spam techniques when you can cause so much more damage. I think it's 30% more. It's a significant number. However, techniques can cause debilitations and status ailments, as well as add buffs to you or your allies. When you take your turn, your next one is predetermined by your agility. Yes, this is currently a CBT. The Fate engine will not use a CBT. Anything other than attack or guard will alter when your turn occurs next in the timeline. For example, my body slam technique will cause my next turn to come up later, while my rest technique, which everyone has rest, I believe. Yeah.
Everyone does have rest.
Right. Will cause my turn to come up a bit earlier. Through experimentation, learn how each of your abilities alters your next turn and utilize them to manipulate the turn order. This will allow you to maximize effectiveness. Now,
the concept of manipulating a turn order is what we're carrying over to the 3D game.
Yes. The Fate battle system requires turn order manipulation, which we call it TAT.
Yeah, TAT. Haha.
So, let's go ahead and finish this up. Okay.
What about status ailments like poison and dizzy? We have leeches to treat those, but what do those ailments do?
Poison causes you to lose 10% of your maximum health on your action, while dizzy causes you to hit far less and get hurt more often. And both last for 3 turns. And it's actually 3 actions, but...
Yeah, 3 actions.
What about reeling, skyward, and grounded? You know, those things that I keep getting hit with in Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
We'll go over that once you've learned the basics. For now, use your normal attack as well as any techniques to kill those 2 wolves. Alright, here's the summary. Ba-derp.
Ba-derp.
Yep. Alright. So, to briefly discuss this, and we can kind of go bit by bit as the demo goes on. The Fate system utilizes 2 very important pieces. One is called the Chronometer, which is physically represented as a timepiece Victoria has, but is also a part of the UI on screen. The Chronometer shows the turn order. The other important piece is the TAT, turn order, TAM, turn order manipulation. That's not how you spell it, but anyway, I'm getting my acronym screwed up. Turn order manipulation. The way that it works is each round, and I'll try to explain it without using any visual. The chronometer will show who's up next and who's following, and everyone gets 1 action per round. So Victoria gets 1 action, Naomi gets 1 action, Phileas, thank you, yeah, Tom. And the wolves each get an action. There's none of this weird CBT stuff where your agility makes you act more. So the chronometer will show that current round, and it will show who's about to act next and whose current turn it is. But it will also show on its flip side the next round and how that current queue is set up. And then as you use your techniques and such that move your turn order around, that next round will show on the chronometer. Then when you finish the current round, it flushes, and the new round takes its place, and another timestamp of that appears on the upcoming round. So you always know 1 round forward where things are going to be, and you can start using your techniques and your abilities to manipulate it.
And that's where all the strategy comes in, right there.
Exactly. It's about putting yourself in a position to be either the most offensive or defensive as the need arises, and then literally smashing your enemy into the ground. There also will be a function that does not exist in this demo called the wait function. When you use the wait function, you can wait until after another character or enemy goes in that turn order. But you can only wait once. So if Naomi, for example, Naomi could wait until after Phileas goes, but then she couldn't wait again that round.
Right.
A wolf could wait until after Victoria goes. I know that's irrelevant for what's showing on the screen right now, but then the wolf couldn't wait again. So enemies, depending on their AI, may wait to try to mess you up. And waiting can stack. So there's things you can do to kind of manipulate the order here and there. All right, let's go ahead and slap some ass. Level 1, level 2. All right, so let's smack the, well, Naomi's really strong.
Naomi's strong in this.
Yeah, Naomi's a DPS. Phileas is more of a balanced kind of semi-tank, but he's not the tank character. Naomi is pure DPS with not much in the way of stamina. And he criticaled, so that wolf is dead.
Yeah.
And
Victoria is healer support.
Yeah, healer support. And even though she is the main character, she is a healer support battle role. We did that on purpose. We wanted to take the normal thing of, oh, the main character has blitz superpower functions, and we wanted to step away from that. Victoria, as mentioned earlier, has an interest in medicine, and that's part of her character journey, right, Jill?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thanks, Wolf. See you when you get back. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, Victoria, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm hoarse.
Would you need some water, hon?
Probably.
Okay, I'll get some water while you explain that. I will be right back.
So,
everyone.
Victoria is interested in medicine, and she'd like to become a nurse. And this is a profession that women very much went in for back in the day. We do have a sorceress order that is composed of nurses, so eventually she's going to want to join this sorceress order. But she has a strong interest in medicine, in healing and helping people. So part of her story is becoming a nurse. Is that my water? Thank you.
All right, I'm back.
So that's the story of Victoria's ambition.
Kinda, sorta, Rilo. Kinda, sorta. Red Mage isn't really accurate, but it is accurate enough. All right. Pardon my cough. Did you say anything about the orders, or we'll talk about that later?
I mentioned one of the sorceress orders that she'd want to join is composed of nurses. That's the Order of St. Raphael.
Yes.
And there are a good half a dozen or so sorceress orders in this fictional world of ours.
Yes. We actually have them written down. They're innumerable enough. There's major ones, like the Masonic Lodge, for example, is massive. And then you have ones like the Order of St. Raphael, which is basically a healer's guild.
Right.
And then you have a lot of small local ones. Secret societies is a really big thing in the Victorian era.
Oh, yes.
All right, medical school like? Oh, gosh.
Medical school
I'm going to roast this wolf.
would be the domain of men. Let's see, Oxford would have a medical college attached to it, but men attend medical school and become doctors.
Right.
That's not something that women are allowed to do.
Right. Your TV show, Patricia Quinn, I believe, medical woman, medicine woman.
Yes, something Quinn, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
That took place during approximately this era Wild West version in the New World, aka America, and that's actually a bit of an off. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Hawk.
That's it, yeah, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
And that's
she would be a very unusual person.
Right.
Because women didn't go to university.
No.
And they certainly didn't become doctors
Right.
or lawyers.
Or government.
No, they did not.
Never mind the fact that the most powerful person in the world in this era is a woman. So that is a theme that we will be exploring in the Rosenheart games, is that breaking free of that. It's not going to be some immediate thing too, because the characters, especially Victoria, are highly integrated, indoctrinated almost.
Well, of course.
Into that
because
world.
she was raised to be a lady, to debut and get married.
Right. So,
The women's suffrage movement was very much alive during this time, but polite society looked down upon them.
So part of Victoria and Naomi's journeys will be to, well, show where they exist as women and how they don't need to be constrained. But we don't want to spoil, so we don't get too deep into it. Okay.
Phew, that was rough. Mr. Fogg, we could probably use some sort of combat notes to remember all those important battle tips you've given us. Yeah, it'll be help.
Yeah, very helpful.
That's not a bad idea at all, Naomi. I'll tell you what, when we get to Munich, I'll set ourselves up at an inn. I'll draft a few pages to help you out. And he indeed will do that. When they get to the inn in Munich, while the girls go out shopping alone, i.e. to get things up to and including a journal for Mr. Fogg, if that tag was set, Fogg does draft some battle notes that he hands over to the girls, that the player will then be able to access from the menu, and sort of a summary of the battle system's basics.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Fogg. Yeah, the heat-seeking wolf.
Girl-seeking wolves.
It's girl-seeking.
He is, yes, and absolutely. Ventus, back in the day, during that time period, a gentleman was not just a social symbol, it was a bit of status. A person who was a gentleman was a man who comported himself with the concept of cum fault.
Yes.
Cum fault meaning, I believe, all things right and proper.
All things right and proper.
During the Victorian era, you always put your best public face forward. You acted like a gentleman, you acted properly. Same, ladies acted like ladies. Regardless of what's happening in your life, you always comported yourself properly. Mr. Fogg is one of those people who embodies that mindset of, regardless of what I'm going through, I am going to always put stiff upper lip, best foot forward. Cum fault. Very important term. All right, here we go.
Eek! Snakes!
Poor Victoria. Victoria.
Yep, and she falls to her knees.
With a little snake X sign.
Yes.
Yes, Rilo, she does, and she has it very badly.
She has it, yes, she has it bad.
Yes. Victoria? Oh dear. It appears that her phobia of snakes has reduced her attack, defense, and agility. This is quite unfortunate indeed.
Oh no, don't worry, sister. I'll kill it quickly so you can go back to normal.
Stay focused, girls. This is the perfect time to go over reeling, skyward, grounded, dizzy, stunned, and dazed. And by the way, Naomi has a few.
And it throws it all at you at once.
Yeah. We're going to be breaking this up.
We're going to break this up.
Yes.
This is too much to impart at one time.
It's like there's currently 3 tutorial battles, and we're going to put it like over, I think 8 is the current number we have.
Yes, yeah, we're going to have 8.
Right, Ventus?
Oh, jeez,
So
yeah.
Naomi also has a phobia. It doesn't show in this demo, but yeah.
Yes, Naomi does have a phobia as well.
All right, special states. So this is where a lot of the magic happens. We're going to go through this, but then I'm also going to talk a bit more about the fate system. When you make an enemy stumble backwards, you send them reeling. When you lift an enemy into the air, you send them skyward. And when you slam them into the ground, you put them into a grounded state. When an enemy is reeling skyward or grounded, all subsequent attacks for 1, 2, or 3 rounds do 10%, 25%, or 50% more damage.
So we just need to always slam enemies into the ground and just forget about reeling or skyward. Got it. Note taken. Let's go kick some butt.
I ad-lib for her, sorry. But there's a problem to that logic, Naomi. Techniques that inflict grounded always delay your next turn far more than ones that do reeling or skyward.
There is a natural trade-off then.
Exactly. There are additional, complications to grounding certain enemies, but I'll go over that when we encounter such a creature. Now, for Dizzy, Stun, and Dazed, they are merely progressively worse versions of each other. Dizzy lowers your hit and evade rates, while Stun causes you to mix your next turn. Dazed means you are completely open and vulnerable to all attacks, and for a few turns all damage against you is doubled, and you cannot act.
being dazed sucks.
Yes.
Oh my, so we should always try to daze an enemy. How do we accomplish that?
Slap the shit out of it as hard as possible, as many times as possible. You have to keep making them dizzy or stunned. Unfortunately, the window to advance someone from stunned to dazed is very short, so it's quite difficult.
So, you shouldn't worry about that for now?
Exactly. For the time being, just use the 3 special states as well as dizzy and stunned to maximize your damage. Right,
Yay.
So we're not going to read this. Instead, I'm going to talk about how the fate system differs. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because it's a very complex system. But it builds on the mechanic that you want to eventually ground and or daze your enemy. And when we go over the next tutorial, the combo tutorial, I'll revisit that. But this will be done through things both called techniques, spells and forces, which are your magic, and something called cantrips. And I'll briefly go over cantrips because I don't want to bog down the stream with that. I guess the best way to describe a cantrip, Teal, would be an attack plus or an art from Tales of games. Would that be a good way to describe it?
It would be a combination of art and a reaction command.
Right. So the basic idea is when your character does some of these things, like chase, rush, and such, will actually be cantrips in the in the 3D version and not techniques. Cantrips you assign to a D-pad, and when you do a regular attack, your character kind of slows down, time slows down a little bit, and you get a chance to input a direction. The direction you enter triggers that cantrip. So think of it like you get an attack, then you get another attack, like an art, and it does something. Other things, techniques, you actually have to choose as a technique. So the cantrips are less about turn order and more about damage and it is about turn order, but it's also about damage, while techniques are more about buffs and debuffs.
Right.
Again, I don't want to turn the stream into a large conversation about the fate system. It's a very complex system on paper, not in practice. Suffice to say, we're going to be breaking it up amongst these cantrips and techniques to make it a little easier for the characters and the players to maximize their output of damage, but still require strategy. All right, let's smack some wolves.
Let's kill that snake
Yeah,
first.
let's do that.
Kill that snake.
Yeah, fuck that snake. Stupid snake.
Yay, gone.
All right.
And now you see that Victoria recovered. She's standing up and the graphic is removed from above her head.
Exactly. All right, let's do a technique. So since it's only one wolf and it really doesn't matter, we can go ahead and body slam. For the sake of the demo, this adds a lot of time, this adds less, this adds even less, and this adds a minuscule amount. But we're going to go ahead and body slam because that's what everyone does in this thing when they play it. And that was enough to kill it.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing also, attacks that do things like Reeling and Skyward and Grounded aren't quite as damaging in the 3D version because those states trigger so much more. Yes, I think it should. Obviously not in MV because it's a switch that turns off when there's no more snake.
Yeah, it's a switch, but yeah, we're going to have a quote-unquote cooldown period.
Right. It would be the following round when the chronometer flips over and changes the round, then she would recover. It would be considered, the way the chronometer also works is that there's a start of round event and end of round events.
Yeah.
And it would be Victoria's start of round event, the round after the snake is killed.
Holy mom. Yes.
or Butter's father from South Park.
Good old Butters.
There's another enemy up ahead. Let's try to slip by without alerting them. Not every enemy will have such a wide range of perception. We may be able to stealth past. Some enemies even have a pattern, like that wolf up ahead. Keep an eye on things and you can avoid unnecessary fights. Some, however, you cannot avoid no matter what.
Like the wolf after it.
Yeah. So we'll sneak past.
That little farker.
We wanted to make this so to kind of show, and in the 3D game you do have the ability to avoid a good number of the fights.
Yeah.
Unlike that one.
Unlike that one.
She went straight for the bustle.
It did.
Hold it, girls. That white wolf seems much tougher than the other enemies we fought so far. We may need to strategize.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I got this. I'm gonna slam him in the ground by his mouth. Grounded state, here we come.
Oh, Naomi.
Naomi, please, act normal. Remember when I said there are additional complications to grounding some enemies? I believe this is such an enemy. We may need to combo them.
Combo.
Alright, we'll talk about that and then we'll
Yes.
equate that to the fate system. I'll be brief so we can move onward with this battle.
Dog trainer.
Wow. But basically, not every enemy, and definitely not any boss, can be just grounded or dizzied off the bat. In order to exploit their weakness, you're going to have to chain the correct combination of states and statuses. This is why Tom, okay, you were right, turn order
Tom.
manipulation is so important. Sorry.
I don't understand. How can we tell what combination of techniques we need to perform in order to ground or daze an enemy? We could be guessing forever.
It's not as bad as you think. If you pay close attention to the enemy when you hit them with a certain state or status, you'll get a quick hint as to what they are now weak against. So long as you're able to use the next state or status in the chain, you'll keep getting hints on what to use next. The challenge is to figure out where to start.
Yep.
It still could take a while.
It could, but not nearly as long as you had to guess the entire chain. Fortunately, if I remember that with a white wolf, if you send it skyward, you can then go round it.
Alright, I'm gonna give it a try. Thanks, Mr. Fogg.
This is what Gnomers does.
Of course.
Alright,
She gives it all her heart.
all her heart. So let's talk a little bit about this, and let's see if we can actually move on beyond this point in the demo.
You think?
So comboing is the heart and soul of the Fate system, and
Yes.
it's used to maximize output. And we actually had a huge shout out to Jeff, Will Black. He actually went through this demo, I think about 3 or 4, maybe even more times, and really tore apart the battle system, put it back together, and gave us, I guess what only can be described, Teal, is a dissertation.
It was, dissertation. It was a very good chunk of notes
Yes.
and very appreciated, actually.
And what he did in them is he kind of showed how the system can work and in relation to crippling an enemy and debuffing it, etc., and how to maximize your damage. He actually did beat the boss at the end of this demo in 4 turns. It was crazy.
Yes.
4 rounds, I should say. Having said that, the Fate system is going to be based on 2 things. First off, using the turn order to maximize your damage and minimize the enemies. That's the first part. We went over that. The second is attempting to get an enemy into a grounded or dazed state, especially mini-bosses, bosses, etc. And you do this through comboing. Every enemy that can just be grounded or dazed off the bat, and dazing is difficult to do by itself anyway. They just, like the regular wolves, it just happens. You want to go ahead and ground them, that's great. And when you ground them, instead of doing 50% more damage for regular attacks, all grounded enemies now trigger in the Fate system something called an exploit. And the exploit is the enemy's on the ground, and it's kind of like a single-player version of the all-out attack in Persona 5. So if we were to ground a wolf, it would trigger an exploit, and we would choose which character would hit the exploit. The exploit depends on the character chosen and the type of enemy. That exploit then will do 50% more damage because the enemy's grounded, based on whether it's a sword attack or a magic attack, etc. Bosses are the same way. Except with a boss, every boss has an invisible stat called Resolve. And I guess I can briefly describe Resolve, Teal.
Very briefly.
Resolve is, it's basically an invisible meter that keeps them from being grounded. And that sounds
And
weird.
once you break their resolve, they can be grounded.
Right. So you
And the trick
chain-
is finding the combo to break their resolve.
Exactly. So you'll see a tell when the battle first starts, and that tell will give you a clue as to what state to use to start the chain. Then you start chaining, you start doing the combo, and there'll be another animation tell. I think the best one we can go through is reeling. If reeling is next in the chain, they'll look like their footing is kind of bad.
Yeah, right.
Stuff
So
like that.
let's see how that works in this.
Right. And eventually you'll be able to ground the enemy and
Yes.
exploit them. Alright, let's go Sasanjite.
Sazanjate. Okay, you saw that, guys?
Right. Now, it won't show weak to grounded in the 3D version. You would see the tell. And when the enemy is ready to be grounded, it will actually say that enemy's resolve is broken.
Yes.
Then you would do a grounding attack. And now the enemy is grounded. And then that would trigger an exploit in the Unreal game. In this case, we're going to have Little Miss do Fire Burst and burn the sucker alive.
Yes.
Now we want to do a regular attack because it's already grounded, so it's maximizing damage. And now we're just going to basically beat...
Now we can just beat down these other wolves.
Right. There's no reason to use techniques. Except for Victoria's Fire Burst, because that's awesome.
She actually likes using it.
She does. Yes. The last thing is a dazed enemy would trigger basically like your all-out attacks, where the whole party would take advantage of it. All right, moving on. Let us know if you have any questions, people, by the way. All right, here we go.
Red and white roses.
Just like in Uncle Chapman's garden, where we first met.
Indeed, even though it was a few weeks ago, I remember it as if it were yesterday. Okay, before I start reading the dialogue, let's point out the different people in the room.
Right. Go ahead,
Okay.
take your mouse.
Do you have the mouse or do
You can do both. You got
Okay.
it.
Can everybody see my little mouse?
No, you got to move it all the way onto the screen. Keep going to the left until we see it. There we go.
Okay. All right. These two characters right here.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who they were.
The one with the red head, that's Thomas.
Yeah, this is a character called Thomas McGeek, right?
Yes.
Yes. He's going to figure rather prominently in the stories. And this gentleman here,
That is Justin Nicholas Time.
and he and his wife will figure rather prominently in this game, The Times.
Right.
This character here,
That is Aaron. That is Jonathan's partner. I'm sorry, Jonathan's business partner.
his business partner. This red-haired character,
That's Gilbert. Gilbert Doubleday.
Gilbert Doubleday.
Some of them are characters that are one-offs. Some appear later on and become more important.
These two.
One of them is Jonathan Chapman, and the other one I absolutely forgot because my brain skipped.
It's one of his friends.
Right.
Okay.
And then Meredith is the purple-haired lady.
This is Meredith, who is married to Justin.
Right.
Meredith Time. And this is their daughter, Clarice. Is it Clarice or Clara? Did we decide?
Clarice.
Clarice. Okay, we decided to call her Clarice. Then we have this character at the gaming table.
Right, which you'll see the gaming table as soon as we advance the dialogue.
Right.
Don't remember her name. I have it in the notes.
Then you have this character who's just staring at the wall.
Actually, this is not Clarice right here. That's Natasha Romanoff.
Ah, Natasha. Okay, Natasha Romanoff, who is the fiancée of Jonathan Chapman.
That's Jonathan right there. The brown-haired guy. That's Jonathan.
Okay.
Yeah. And we use the word Romanoff. That is important. Anyone
Yes.
who knows their history knows the Romanoff family. All right, shall we go, or you want to point out one thing?
It was a party celebrating a friend of father's, Mr. Jonathan Chapman, returning from darkest Africa. No, not Black Widow. The parlor was very boring, with lots of adults having conversations too mature for a girl of 15. So Father suggested I go outside to the garden to play.
And there she goes.
Yo.
And she's out.
Yep,
Poor Duke Westmoreland. He just wants his daughter to behave.
he does.
So we do have some more characters here, and we'll point them out.
Okay, what you can see here, this character is Alice Liddell.
Which you may or may not recognize the name. If you do not, go ahead, Teal.
Alice in Wonderland.
That is the real-life person who inspired...
Lewis Carroll.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she, of course, is looking at roses that have yet to be painted red.
That's right.
Red and white roses.
Red and white roses.
Okay.
And then over here, you've got these two characters.
Because it wouldn't be a game if the creators didn't cameo momentarily.
So we've got Steele and Teal standing here in front of the flower bush.
We're having a conference.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
All right.
And then that lady right there.
Yes.
That is she will figure predominantly in the actual game itself. Unfortunately, she shows up very briefly in the demo, but she is a highborn fairy, what's called a Daonan she. So the character itself will actually be around taller than your average human female.
Right.
With long pointed ears and a flowing dress.
And very ethereal looking.
Right. Okay.
I can't read that dialogue because there's a whole bunch of stuff on my UI. So y'all can read it.
Okay.
She has silken hair.
It says that I met a girl just like me with tan skin and black silken hair.
Now, if you guys look, they're wearing identical dresses, except one's blue and one's red. They also have bows in their hair. Victoria's is blue, Naomi's is red.
This is also on purpose.
This is a tell.
Yes.
Okay.
That was me. I was me.
Yes, it was. And although we didn't know we were sisters yet, we became fast friends. We played the day away in that garden.
And that was a big thing back then. Gardens were a place where young ladies, especially girls yet to be debuted, would often play. They would also play in places like different nurseries, parlors meant specifically for children, not salons.
Right.
Usually with their governesses watching. Now, there's no governess here because it's a small, intimate party where the father knows the person throwing it. Ergo, Victoria is allowed to just go out in the garden and play with Naomi, who is currently under the guardianship of Jonathan Chapman.
You'll also notice that the sprites have long hair. Mm-hmm. This is because girls not yet debuted had their hair down.
Right.
Once a girl debuted, she put her hair up.
Exactly. Another thing to note, of course, is that this is a parallax map. They're all parallax maps.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let us continue.
That is actually, yes, a bit of a plot point.
Yes. To answer your question,
Rilo, yes.
We will not spoil it because obviously we'd be getting into plot territory.
Right.
But
yeah, that is a very good question to keep in mind.
Yes.
That was before things went sour.
And now here. Enough memories for now. Let's get going, says Victoria.
Yeah.
And now the best conversation ever, where poor Naomi gets stepped on.
Oh, yeah.
Money. Good. We found some coins. Now, Naomi, crowns, the lesser currency, are necessary for minor purchases such as medicines and temporary lodging. Pounds, the greater currency, are needed for major purchases like horses, houses, and investments.
The white Yehuina, huh?
I'll explain, Mr. Fogg. Naomi, there are many types of money in the world. However, with the rise of the Unified Bank of London, the British pound has become the standard unit of currency.
Well, yeah, I know that. Dad left me a whole bunch of money, that inheritance trust in the Bank of London. When we get to Munich, I need to arrange my stipend. I just don't get why Mr. Fogg said that stuff about crowns and pounds. Am I supposed to be ignorant on how to properly spend money or something?
Well, that was a bit pedantic of me, Naomi, and I apologize. It's just that with you having been raised so far away...
I grew up in Kenya. It's a British colony. Sheesh, I may not be formally educated, but I'm not stupid.
I sincerely apologize, Naomi. It was exceedingly rude of me to assume James hadn't instructed you.
Yeah, it's okay. I know I can come off as a bit unpolished at times. No harm, Mr. Fogg.
Are we ready to go?
Yes, please, before I put my foot further in my mouth. So,
Okay.
this touches upon a theme that Studio Blue has to be very delicate with.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's the concept of imperialism and colonialism.
Colonialism.
And this conversation, although it accurately reflects, it doesn't actually pass off to players who don't necessarily know much about that time period, unfortunately. What Phileas Fogg did was literally abject colonialism. He assumed, since Naomi grew up in Kenya and had, I'm just going to come out and say it, darker skin, that she wouldn't understand certain things about civilized society, i.e. the Bank of London and the British pound. It is, call it like it is racism. And it's not a pleasant thing. We obviously don't want to make an apology for it. But colonialism existed back then. And even the most well-meaning Europeans often engaged in it. Teal, you want to say anything on that? I mean,
There's not much more to say. It was a prevalent mindset, especially within the British Empire, that they were the greater and others were the lesser. The British Empire had holdings in India and Africa and other places.
Yes.
And they considered themselves to be the greatest empire in the world.
The height of civilization.
Yes. And you can see it in literature, works written at the time. I mean, you read the story of Tarzan and Mowgli in the Jungle Book.
Yes.
You're going to see that attitude come out.
And we don't endorse it by any stretch, and we don't apologize for it. It's not a good thing, what happened. We're not apologists. What we're basically trying to do, and this is the game, this is where we have to balance our writing, is show this without presenting it in a light that the characters themselves are ugly, and then over the course of the story have them not be that way.
They learn
Yeah.
through actually going to some of these places and meeting people that colonial idea is wrong-headed.
Yes. And Naomi, this was one of the decisions to make Naomi look how she does, so that the extremely pale Victoria and the people with her would start to go, I think this mindset that society accepts as normal is not.
Yeah.
So, anyway, and as far as money goes, crowns are used as your basic currency to purchase stuff in the game, while you actually will have pounds in the background that you can go to a bank and look at that will allow you to make larger purchases later on in the games.
Because eventually the girls will engage in investments.
Yes, to build up your wealth. And by the way, before we read this, Naomi's father was a wealthy individual, but it's a trust fund that Naomi has right now. She doesn't have access to all the monies just yet.
Because she's not of age.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
What is this? I feel an odd energy coming from it.
That is a healing font, Victoria. It's a natural rupture in the energy flow of the Earth. Nothing harmful to the world, but it does allow for restorative energies to... Sorry, I slipped my hand
I
on
don't think
the
you can see that, can you?
Yeah, bubble forth. If you open yourself to the power contained within the font, you'll be healed of your injuries. They aren't as rare as some anomalies, but still aren't common. Basically, it's a ley line that's been ruptured.
Oh, that's really handy-dandy brandy.
Yes, that is very nice. Can any of us use this? Even those without magical training?
Right, because this is a world where magic exists, and you go to school for magic. And I just made a Hogwarts reference.
You just made a Hogwarts reference.
You're a wizard, Victoria.
No, it's not like that.
No, it's a person going to a college or a university or even a non-higher education would take algebra, and then they would take geology, and then they would take spellcasting 101. It's considered to be as academic a subject as anywhere else, or they join an order and learn that way.
Right, and since women weren't typically admitted to university, the orders that women were admitted to would teach them the magic.
Exactly. But you learn it like a skill if you have natural sorceress potential.
Yes, you have to have that natural potential.
Right.
All right.
Indeed, you can.
And we just kind of step on it and absorb it.
Yeah, how do we make use of this thing? How do we go? Tell me the instructions, not the
Show
theory.
me the instructions.
Very simple. Just stand on top of the font, activate it, and the energy will flow into you. However, girls will vanish when you use them and not return for many days. It basically keeps track and spawns in new healing fonts later.
Wonderful. Let us try it.
Gotta get my voice ready. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Yes, sister. Let's get medicinal. Medicinal. Come on, let's get medicinal. Let's get into medicinal.
And I'm taking that out because I'm the only one who got the Olivia Newton-John reference, and I suck.
That was... I've been berating him ever since he put that in to please take that out.
Damn it, let me have my dreams. As bad as they are.
Oh.
Boop. And little healed.
I can use this to climb down, but I won't be able to get back up. Do I want to go down the vine?
Yes! Typical, I can't go any further, point of no return, changeovers in dungeons.
Right.
All right.
Yay! A handy save journal.
So at this point, with the exception of a couple other things, it's going to be pretty much a dungeon crawl. So this is where if you have questions about the game, the culture, the world, the characters, feel free to ask while I go along. And the next time we actually have a chance to chat, we'll chat.
Right.
All right.
I love how your wolf sprites just rock back and forth.
They got something going on. They do. They have something going on. So let's do some techniques here. Let's make Victoria happier. Raise her agility.
Yay! That always makes her happy.
Yeah, and we want to use
She can
buffs.
evade.
And we're going to use distraction to kind of lower down his effect. Okay, Tori.
Aww,
And it missed.
Tor.
Very important. And now I'm going to smack the snot out of it. And that's it.
Because that's what Naomi's do.
I do. They smack the snot out of stuff.
With your mouth.
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
Yeah, this is what we do. This is our game. Okay, so now we're going to go here and get a treasure chest.
Get the goodie. More leeches.
Now Herbert has friends. He got your friend.
Yes.
And a white wolf. Never fun. This is on Jete. One thing that we have noticed through many of the Let's Plays here. This engine does not like what we're trying to do. So we're kind of grateful that we moved over to the Unreal Engine because, resource management.
It was difficult enough to get even this put into the engine.
Yes.
It doesn't like what we're trying to make it do.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Okay, let's go to Sanjite, see if that helps a little bit.
Whee!
Alright, and now we can have him power punch it. And that's that. Okay. And I think a distraction is good. That will keep it.
Distraction.
Because by dizzying it, I lessen its chance. It still may hit, but there's less of a chance that it will hit.
Okay, show Naomi's techniques again.
Right.
Okay, so y'all see it's called Chase Rush and Saison Jeté. Okay, Terra Slam. But Saison Jeté is a dance move from classical ballet.
You will learn later on in the story, by the time they get to Castle Neuenstein, that Naomi has practiced ballet since she was a little kid. Not on stage so much as just she liked it, she started learning the dance moves. And ballet is how she identifies her attacks.
Yes.
We have another character, Angelique. She's the girl, the duelist woman with the bustier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All of her attacks are fencing moves.
So we incorporate that into the character concept.
Yes. Victoria's are all elementals because Victoria is at heart a mage.
Yes. Yay, victory!
We should be leveling up soon. There we go.
Yay!
Oh,
Spin your button.
Go up, la 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 la.
more stuff. Let's avoid this one.
Yeah, we can avoid that one.
There'll be a lot of this in the 3D game, where you have areas you can just maneuver around and avoid the enemy should you choose,
Yes.
instead of triggering a fight. By about this time here, actually past this time, once you come down this area, assuming that the maps are identical, which they won't be, you'll be able to run from combat.
Ah, Naomi's name.
I'll let you field that one. What's the question? Oh. Naomi, or Naomi, is, I believe, more of an Afrikaans style name, I
Yes,
believe. I'm not,
yes it is.
Yeah.
Northern African.
Yeah, I believe. And if I am wrong and someone can correct us on that, that'd be great. Probably.
Slimes fall under molluscophobia. I don't know. I suppose they would.
Yeah. That is very random, Rilo, and appreciated for the random awesome.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I haven't gone over here is the guard command. Guard works pretty much the same. In the Fate engine, waiting, guarding, all that. Guard in this one allows you to go as quickly as humanly possible, so it is actually a technique in this version, in the MV version, to use guard to try to go as soon as you can again to manipulate the turn order. In the Unreal version, when you wait, you automatically guard. And now it's time to kick this thing's ass.
Yeah, it needs to go away.
Alright, and save.
Save journal.
Because that's what we do. We save. Now we can save here, don't matter.
And also a bit of looking ahead to see what awaits.
Right, so in the Unreal version, you would walk here, and you could look over the cliff and see what is happening.
Yes.
How to get an idea. There's a font here, an info point here, and you'd be able to look a little bit more in this area. Good question, Nandi. I have been spending literally a year now since we made the change in the engine. I've been learning blueprints extensively.
Yeah.
Teal has been learning them as well, not to discredit Teal, because she's been learning more of the level design section.
I've been doing more of the actual mapping.
But while she's learning those aspects, I've been really diving into the blueprints. So there's a chance that, yes, depending on how we budget this, we may require additional help and hire people who understand either blueprints or the C++ needed to make scripts. Basically what's called a C++ blueprint. Probably need to kill this thing a little faster.
Probably need to kill that snake.
Yeah, let's do that. So, in theory, Nandi, I'd like to do it myself, but that's a lot of work. The Fate system itself has been... Actually, let's talk not about the Fate battle system. The programming to easily create the Black Forest has taken a while, because I have to learn these things from scratch. My programming background is not particularly strong. Now, I don't know if you all see this or not, but Victoria's hitting with a parasol.
Yes.
That is two things. One, it is, well, something a girl her age would have. Two, it is a direct callback to Eternal Sonata's main character of Polka, who Teal and I thought was just the cutest goddamn thing.
Yeah. She had a cute little parasol. Yay,
All right.
accuracy necklace.
Ooh, look, sister, we found an accessory.
Yes, it is very fortuitous for us to find such a thing out here. I can feel raw power emanating from it. I may lack formal training, but my natural sorceress potential tells me that this is a magical item.
Now, you're going to see more of this in the full version, and we kind of gloss over it a little bit in the demo, but actually Victoria is highly well-read. So that's how she knew all that.
I'll never be able to use any magic.
Oh, sister, I'm so sorry. At least you have that powerful sword of Ra your father left you, and those amazing techniques. It's pretty impressive.
So if you notice, bad things happened, and the girls try to uplift each other. This is also in keeping with the theme of the game. Much like Frozen, the main quote-unquote love theme of the Rosenhearts storyline is not a romance theme between Victoria and someone or Naomi and someone. The main love is
between sisters. It's
Yeah.
all about sisters.
all about sisters, twin sisters.
Yeah, you're right. I won't worry about it.
Anyway, we should probably equip that item for its benefits. Please remember that you can only wear 1 necklace and 2 rings. Also, some rings can only be worn on your left hand, while some can only be worn on your right, and that will not carry over to the Unreal Engine.
No.
You can have 2 rings, and they can fit either one. So a poison resist ring could fit on your left hand or your right hand. This was made for due to slot limitations.
We turned a slot limitation into kind of a story point,
Right.
but it's going to be unnecessary for Unreal.
Exactly.
Why?
I just wanted to do it like that.
That's so cute.
Exuberant as ever, Naomi. It has to do with how energy comes in through one hand and out through another. So he's actually more polite to her now because of what happened. This is another one of those invisible things. Because of what happened with the money, he's now being more not more positive, more just going out of his way to be complimentary.
Yes.
And little things like that are important. If we hadn't had the money conversation yet, he wouldn't be negative, but he would be less going out of his way to compliment her.
Right.
It has to do with how energy comes in through one hand and out through another, but I am not a scholar of the magical arts, so I don't know the details. Suffice to say, some rings go on left hand and others go on your right. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Now we should move along with our magic accessory and a skip in our steps.
So damn cute. So, basically, like Teal said, we turned a limitation and a lack of how to do something into a feature. So we're going to give the accuracy necklace over to, and we're actually going to look at our statuses, which is a good time to look at that anyway.
Yes, it is.
So, raises agility, so she has agility at 17, not the greatest. And here we have a 15-year-old ingenue who's never lived a day outside her father's home. An ingenue is a narrative trope used during the Victorian era and a little bit beyond. It is basically a girl who is completely innocent and never has zero real-world experience. Is that correct, Dale?
That is correct.
Yeah. Victoria is the essence of ingenue for this story. All right, Naomi. Much better agility. Doesn't really need the accuracy necklace.
Doesn't need it, no.
A spunky 15-year-old girl with a thirst for adventure and a fearless heart. Also, sure, her hit ratio is a lot higher. She hits really well, so she doesn't really need it. I guess so, Rilo. I would assume this is part of Mog Hunter, so, you know, they're not going to be there in the Unreal version. This is going to look different.
Just
the,
very different, yeah.
The basic idea of aesthetics is the same because High Blitz did such an amazing job, but the information will be completely different in how it's presented. And now, Phileas Fogg. A jet-setting, world-traveling, smooth-talking gentleman with a hunger for discovery. So, I think that accuracy is actually agility. And if that's the case, it really belongs on Victoria.
Yep.
And it's not. It is a hit rate. Okay, so it is hit rate. It doesn't really belong on Naomi, so either Victoria or Phileas could use it better. I actually think that we should put it on Victoria simply because those cantrips of her are super strong when they hit. So
yeah, I usually put the necklace on Victoria.
Right. So, for the Let's Players who have put the accuracy necklace on Naomi, it's almost not necessary. Her hit rate is extremely high naturally. Naomi is all offense. If you look at that stat, look at that poor girl. It's all about hitting it and very little about taking it.
She got a glass jaw.
Yeah. And that's intentional. She slaps it down and then gets hit and falls down butt up in the air.
Falls down.
All right, here we go.
Ah, yes. Oh, our favorite combo, the wolf and snake combo.
Yeah, but not Victoria's favorite.
No, it's not.
She hates it. Okay, I can probably kill this thing in one hit because it's a level 1. Excuse me. Oh, hey, Retro. Thanks for joining us. This is our game. This is the MV version of the Rosenhearts. And what we're doing is sort of a director's commentary and talking about how the 3D game that we're making in Unreal is different. Thanks.
Always good to see you.
Always. Alright, so we definitely need to ground this guy.
Wait till you get to a place with lots of snakes.
Oh, so many snakes. Yeah, we actually have a dungeon later on in the game design document that has a unfair amount of snakes.
Snake.
And for Victoria, because, again, a girl, 15 years old, who is an ingenue, starts after a while to think that they're conspiring against her.
Yes.
And
And we are considering even putting in some a little bit of animation
Right.
to show the conspiracy of snakes.
Victoria has a crippling fear of snakes. In fact, if a snake is in the battle engine, she's hit with a debuff.
Yeah.
So,
She's frightened of snakes.
hey, Zephyr!
Awesome. Hey, Zephyr.
Thanks for making it. So yeah, Victoria's fear of snakes is really bad. So a dungeon with a lot of snakes is gonna pretty much not good.
Yeah.
For her. It's not good. Like we said, Naomi also has a phobia, and that's just as unfun. All right.
Okay, here's another info point.
Yes. Shall I try to read it, or shall we just?
Oh, just let everybody read it. It's
Pause your screen.
too much to say.
No, this
But
one.
this is about the social classes.
Go for it, Teal.
And we wanted to bring that out pretty early because Naomi and Victoria are from very different social classes.
Correct.
And that is touched upon several times in this first story.
Yes.
And not much more to say about it. Social class is very much in the forefront of Victorian society.
It really is.
Where you're from is where you're from.
That's right.
And that's how you're treated.
And that's why, if you've ever heard stories, especially, something from Charles Dickens, etc., where a woman tries to, or a man tries to move or marry outside of their social class, they usually are shunned.
Yes.
They're seen by members in their class, if they're moving up, as quote-unquote gold diggers, and that's a horrible statement, and viewed by people in the class above them as not knowing their place.
As not knowing your place.
So,
yes.
again, like the colonialism, we are trying to represent very touchy and uncomfortable subjects in a way that does not make apologies for them, but also shows that the individual can move beyond the negative.
Yes.
As we said earlier, Victoria is an aristocrat. Her father is a duke. That is a massively high thing. Duke is literally right below royalty. And he is I believe, northern, the Moorlands, the West
Yes,
Moorlands.
yeah, he's in northern England.
Right. In fact, that his duchy is what borders the British border of Scotland. Mm-hmm. So Victoria comes from a very privileged, wealthy background. Naomi is literally gentry. She's literally our version of middle class. Her father was well known, and that is plot points, but she herself is pretty much what would be called nowadays as, just bourgeoisie, middle class.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Oh, it's our other favorite combo.
Yay, our buddies. Our pals. Try to do spirit. I don't have spirit yet. Instead, I am
Spirit
going-
magic helmet.
Spirit magic helmet.
If you hit something,
We can do the beat down.
Yeah, so for this one, Retro, we use the Troop plugin, and we use the okay, let me take a step back. For this particular engine, for MV, what we did was we used one of Yanfly's, base Troop plugins, so that will create things for everyone. And then for the ones that had the snakes, we added an extra page in the Troop that as long as a snake was alive, Victoria would have the debuff. And then when the snake dies, and there's no more snakes at all, the debuff is removed. Rilo or someone else touched in earlier that she recovers really quickly from her phobia, and that's true. In the actual 3D game, we're not going to be going with a CTB. We're going to be going with, a round where everyone gets a turn in the order that they go in, and I am not going to re-explain the chronometer, because that was really complex. But basically, when Victoria has her phobia active and the snake is killed, the following combat round at that start, Victoria overcomes it. she gets up because they're all dead. So is a little bit of a time where she kind of catches her breath. Thank you, Retro. I don't want to slap some. No, I want to. So another thing here. See how this is slap, which sends reeling? Every character in the game will have some combination of reeling, skyward, and or grounded. Naomi is specifically and intentionally made to have all three.
Yes.
Do they have enemies where they are confident against that gives them the opposite effect? That is a fantastic idea, and we are going to implement that. Confidence is a thing, yes.
Yes, it is.
But to actually turn it into a buff retro, that is an amazing idea. I'm pretty sure I can fit that into the GDD. And we dizzied it.
Yay! And it missed.
And it missed
because it's dizzy.
All right, I am now going to hit this one because I don't like his face.
No, you don't like his face.
And let's go ahead and body slam because it's only one enemy left. Hey, Joseph!
All right. Good to see you, Joseph.
And I think at this point, fire burst, really. Burn it.
Yes.
Set it on fire. That's how we kill it. With fire. We can call the confidence boost the retro effect.
Yes, the retro effect.
And anti-B string.
So here's a bit of trivia.
Right.
Victoria's favorite element is, surprise, surprise, fire.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, you're going to see how that factors into her spell. What do you call it? Her repertoire of spells.
Right.
And what becomes her signature spell.
Right. And the reason that we say this is important, let's go over to equipment here. Right.
Yes, equipment, right?
So let's look at Victoria first. Victoria is wearing the moon clothes. Silver and blue robes fit for a mage. Victoria identifies with that moon, which is elements like water and light. And there's the water and the more gentle, not feminine elements. There we go.
Yeah, water and earth.
Thank you. What was that?
Water and earth.
Yeah, water and earth. So she identifies as a person with the more female elements. Naomi is wearing the sun clothes, identifying more with the male elements. And that works because Naomi is essentially a tomboy.
Yes.
It's just kind of funny that Victoria identifies with attacking with the fire spell, and there is a story point behind that. We are using, the bust was drawn by an artist, and the face sets retro is the MV character generation. Did we? Like this? I'm not sure what you mean. How did I get the cursor to work in the Mog Hunter menu? I mean, like clicking? Like that? We want to put the anti-beast her, because she gets her butt bitten a lot.
Yeah, put the anti-beast ring on Naomi.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm clicking the wrong button. No wonder it's not working. I'm a goofball. I'm like, what happened? Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Nothing at all. Nothing. Nothing. Tra-la-la. Alright, murder,
death, kill.
Oh, thank you, Retro. Alright, so let's just speed on in here and do this to this guy, because why not? And then this one right here, body slam.
It's a fantastic place to level up for the areas ahead.
It really is. Now, if you noticed, he's now been inflicted with dizzy. So I have some options here. I don't like the idea of him being dizzy because it makes it easier for him to hit. But also, and people were noticing this during the LP, interestingly enough, no one picked up on it being a feature. Everyone is now going to target Phileas, because the way the AI is, when the wolves debuff someone with Howl, making them dizzy, all the other wolves start attacking that person. And that is using one of Yanfly's AI plugins, which was amazing.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to go over here and I am going to use a leech on him because he is going to become ultra targeted otherwise.
Yeah, see, they're already going for it. Yep.
And that would persist all the time if I hadn't healed him. Hey!
Hey, Boo Boo Hotep, good to see you.
I think we can body slam this one.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yes.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, I love that. Yukum-kun made just amazing animations.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, you're fine, Bubba Hotep. You can catch all the stuff you missed on VOD. And then she should be able to kill it in one hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's what Naomi's
And
do.
that's it, yep.
Ah, she got medic.
Now this is her new skill, medic.
And she's gonna get Ice Wraith. And you hit it with ice. And then,
So Victoria has fire,
right.
and Naomi has ice.
And it's actually the reason that their powers are that way, regardless of their personalities, is what they really are, and you find that out at the end of this demo. So when you get there, you'll know. Oh, you'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know. Oh, snuck past him. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, you did. Ha ha.
And then I totally barfed
What
up.
in the world, Steel? Seriously?
Womp womp. But you know what? It's okay.
Make sure you hit the secret area.
Right. Oh, I will. Interestingly enough, everyone, there has been an area that every single person who has played this thing on LP has missed. So we are going to make sure. Yes.
Yeah, that's that is a point, Rilo. Yeah.
It is intentionally paradoxical, but
Yep.
also indicative of the kind of people they are. We'll show more of that later. And that wasn't 100% necessary.
And
but
of
it
course,
helped.
if you really get really philosophical, they're twin sisters, so they complement each other,
Right.
and they work as a perfect team.
So you see what I did is I grounded and now I'm attacking. So I'm thinking one move ahead, which you have to do in this game. Now, for the MV demo, not as big, but for the full game, the 3D Unreal game, you absolutely want to think a move ahead.
Oh, yes.
But you don't want to concentrate. It's meant to kind of balance between not being so strategy heavy you're always worried, boss fights aside, and just getting you in the idea of either engaging or slapping. And by the way, I think we mentioned this in the actual dialogue. You can actually tank and spank every single enemy in this game. You don't ever have to employ a bit of strategy in any Rosenhearts enemy ever,
Right.
if you're willing to have it be tough and time-consuming. I'm using a regular attack, and I did a lot of damage. So he was grounded and Naomi critical. Lord,
She does
girl.
that.
That's that girl right there. That one. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Snaky snakes.
Snakes, snakes, and more snakes.
So now we have something that does ice, which does extra damage against these snakes. The logic behind that is, God, my head burned blank for a second. Reptiles.
Yeah, reptiles.
Reptiles don't like the cold; they kind of stop moving. Okay, girl. That also is a thing.
Well, you know.
And there we go. And the snakes are dead. Cold-blooded. Right, they're cold-blooded, which means they legitimately don't like drops in temperatures. So we made the decision. Reptiles are weak to cold. Aww. Victoria, are you alright? You're quite pale right now and you're sweating profusely.
I really, really hate snakes.
I'm sorry, sister. I try to kill him faster next time.
Yes, same here. Do you need a moment?
Yes, my heart hasn't raced like this since...
Since the bad thing happened at Uncle Chapman's?
That's
Oh, heroic Zephyr. Really? Really? Yes. Oh, how I wish I could forget.
Flashback. So we have been, and rightfully so, called out by a number of LPers. Mm-hmm. There will be a small cave inlet that they're going to go into and not out in the middle of the rain. All right, here we go.
Okay, so we can talk about this map.
Yes, and it's going to auto move, but that's okay.
Yeah, I did all my mapping in Parallax
Yes.
simply because I needed all the layers.
Yes.
This room was in a special challenge because it had to be a large room with mostly the table taken up, because the whole point was to have this huge formal dining table. In the room is a box, because these types of formal dining rooms were this shape.
Yes. And
Yeah, I didn't like having a box, but
Right.
there really wasn't a way around it, because I needed to have the table be the central feature of this room.
right. There's a couple of maps later on where we're less boxy. Oh, thank you, Ventus.
Thank you. Yes, the shadows do help a lot.
Lighting is key. Lighting is absolutely key. Oh, there's Alice again, hanging out. And there's us.
The wallpaper assets that I used are very good, accurate representations of the type of wallpapers that were prevalent back in Victorian times.
Absolutely. And as you can note here, the dinner table is made up. This is actually not accurate.
No.
The food would not be set until the people were sitting, and then it would be soup, and then all the way up to the main courses,
Yes.
and finally dessert at the very end, which would be things like a custard or cake or etc. You do
Right.
notice that some is here. Now, this is also accurate. A lot of times they would have a side table where the food would be laid out and the guests could see what they were about to eat prior to the banquet, the feast. Then some things, like for example, the main course would be brought in from the kitchen piping hot, which the kitchen door is up here. And the cook, whoever would bring the roast beef or whatever, and they
Right.
would present it to the master of the house, which this is Jonathan Chapman. I was wrong earlier. That's Jonathan. And he would approve, and the carving would occur, and people would eat, and conversation, etc., etc. So,
Now, this sprite right here, this is Alana Silverstar.
yes, the high fairy.
The high fairy.
Right.
She's got a little flower in her hair, so that is her. I really enjoyed making this down here, all the wine, and putting this character in front of the wine.
Yes, and this is rando.
like,
this
yeah.
is one of the few rando house guests.
Yeah.
You can't see the times are down here. Justin, Meredith, and someone else are chatting. And like I
Yes.
said, there's Alice. And
There's Alice.
There's our little cameo.
There's a Steel and Teal.
And there's Papa. And there's the girls. Okay, so we're going to continue. And why do I sound divine? I don't know, Shrill. Why do I sound divine?
Roast beef! Absolutely.
Hey, roast beef, English roast beef with rosemary.
Yum.
Or roast beef with Yorkshire pudding. Okay, let's go.
Finally, we settled in for dinner. I remembered that the cook served tomato basil soup, which was odd to me because it didn't match the rest of the dinner. The housekeeper had to chide her several times, before, during, and after the dinner. I had no idea how vitally important small details like those would later become.
Now, we put a lot of information in here because of the mystery aspect, which you'll see momentarily. And when we get to the next flashback, Teal and I will talk a little bit about how we're going to be handling that in the full version. Because while it's not bad, we feel we could have done better.
No.
No.
No, soup is not capitalized. Tomato basil is the name of it, but soup is, it's a common noun, so no, it's not capitalized. It's not part of the name.
Yeah.
Little things like this are going to be important in our game, little details, because it is, how can I say, it is so very important what is served at meals, what goes together, what doesn't go together.
Right.
That's just the type of thing that you're going to encounter
Right.
in this game.
The positions of characters during certain scenes. Because, as we said earlier, Victoria's very well read. She's also an intelligent character, another thing that we try to portray in the demo and will be portraying better in the Unreal game. So she notices things. All right, let's continue.
Right. If I had only known.
Tomato basil soup, you say? What did any of that have to do with anything that occurred within the Chapman mansion?
Shh, let Victoria tell the story. She'll get there.
Correct. After dinner, we sojourned to the study for the big surprise. See, Victoria doesn't actually answer the question
Right.
about the tomato basil soup because she saves that for later.
Right.
What I'm going to say right now is that with the courses that were served, roast beef and etc., you're not going to serve a savory like tomato basil soup.
Right.
Okay? You're going to serve a more of a cream-based soup.
Like a potato.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So they sojourned to the study. I really enjoyed mapping out Chapman's study.
Yes.
I get to use all kinds of exotic assets
Like
that
this.
I wouldn't normally get to use in this Victorian setting.
Like the statue of Anubis.
I loved that. I loved using the Egyptian assets and some of the African assets as well.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun to put together.
It truly was.
Oh, y'all see the bearskin rug down there? Oh, yeah. Gotta have those bearskin rugs.
So I apologize. I accidentally skipped her talking about the map of the living stone.
I want them to see just how cool this map is.
Well, they will. We will. But I skipped Victoria's lines, and I apologize.
That's all right.
Yeah, Uncle Chapman was really excited about this map. Apparently, the living stone is some ancient, amazing, stupendous artifact or something.
Exactly. And whatever it may be, Mr. Chapman had his butler lock the map away inside a safe in the master bedroom. Soon afterwards, the guests who lived in Wales or nearby left. The ones who lived far away, like Father and myself, bedded down for the night.
So Jonathan Chapman lives in Wales.
Yeah.
And that is the that is the southwestern part of England, the map area. Victoria's family, the Westmorlands, live up near the British.
Live near the Scottish border.
Thank you. I cannot talk.
So that is quite a far away. So that yes, they're going to spend the night, and then when they travel, it will take them literally all day to get back home.
Exactly. Is that when it happened?
Yes, although we didn't find out until the next morning. Ah, the bedroom. I loved the bedroom. Look at how cool the wallpaper is. See the wallpaper?
And not a box.
Oh, of course. Yes, not a box.
This is a changing area with a little lavatory. This is where the ladies would change.
Yes.
All of
so
this.
I was very accurate as to what would appear in the master suite in a Victorian house.
Absolutely.
You do have the dressing area. You have the sitting area to the south. Right there, sitting area.
Right.
You have an armoire.
Massive. Huge. They're big. Armoires and wardrobes are massive. People underestimate how big they are unless they've ever seen them.
Then you also have a bookcase to the left.
Yeah, bookcase.
And then, of course, you have the bed area.
Right, and a little wash area here.
That's the wash stand and wash basin so that you can wash your face.
And there's the bed, which should be canopied.
Yes, it should be a canopy. Couldn't find an asset with that.
But the 3D version will have canopied beds.
Yeah.
Now, watch over here. The two people who are at the side in this tragedy, which you can probably figure out where this is going, are the fiancée, Natasha, and the niece, Naomi.
If you notice, we've got Victoria sitting next to her father.
Right. And then you have the two Times up there who are from Bavaria.
Right.
And you have Aaron Chapman's business partner.
Right there.
All right.
Okay. Jonathan Chapman had been murdered, and the map had been stolen right from his safe.
And if you notice, Natasha fell to her knees.
Uncle Chapman.
Truly awful indeed.
Yes, that is when everything began to fall apart.
It did not go well for these girls afterwards.
No, it didn't.
Okay, as we said, especially since we have about an hour left, we are going to continue. We're going to finish this, by the way, before jumping over to Hawk. But at this point, we're past a lot of the exposition parts. So other than the other flashbacks for the battles and such, if you have any questions, we'll answer them. But we're going to kind of zoom and move. Go ahead.
You know, we need to kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
And I skipped Victoria talking about Death of Cold.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's fine. I think we've all seen this.
Right. Bless you. All right. So here we go. Moving on. Boop, 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 boop. So I'm going to go. So every LP here we have watched. So Drifty, Hawk, and Toasty. Everybody's kind of missed this little area over here. Not the most important thing in the world. You know, just a little treasure chest. Just a little small med kits. You know, nice to have those. And rather easy to dodge enemy. So if you're watching and you've played this game, don't miss it. All right, here we go.
I don't feel like fighting him.
No, we don't feel like fighting.
What level am I? I'm level 3. Yeah, I'm good so far. You want to
I
be
think
about
we're
level
good.
5 for the boss. Oh, snakes.
Oh, goody.
Victoria seeking snakes.
I think they were sitting there laying in wait for her.
They were going right for her. They held a conference on the best way to get her.
I think they did.
Yeah.
They're going to bite her right on the bustle.
Right on the bustle. And because Teal and I are legit terrible people, yes, you can get bit on the butt.
Yep. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
What? It's not dead?
No, level 4.
No.
I actually have to beat this one
Of
up.
course. Oh.
You're going to medic somebody because it doesn't want to do none of that noise. No, medic or twin.
Feel better.
Yeah, feel better.
I'm gonna beat it down with this.
Just beat it down. Beat it. There you go. Freeze it. Snake sickle.
Yeah, snake sickle. Stays crunchy even in milk.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's actually kind of awful.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we know something's about to happen because there's a healing point here. And... Move, girl. There you go.
And there's the save journal.
Save journal. Maybe something happening. Maybe.
Oh, we make it pretty obvious.
Yeah. We don't hide. Alright, here we go.
This is the fun part.
Ah.
I can jump down here, but I won't be able to get back up. Should I do it?
Hop.
Hop.
Music note.
Music note.
And
And in question. Aye!
yes, our sweet little soft-spoken... We love this character.
Yes. She's one of my favorites. Someone help me, please!
So, this character has sort of a wispy voice, kind of sweet, like the wind. I don't know what that's. All right, let's go help this poor thing, right?
You there? Help! Oh no, that fairy is in trouble. We have to help her.
Redcaps, dark fairies who will eat anything. They're very dangerous. That dryad, he's identifying what fairy it is,
Yeah.
is in serious trouble. Be careful, girls. Keep your wits about you. Until I'm going to recommend don't use the high-pitched voice with your throat for that character.
Okay.
Use more of a relaxed, soft voice. Because
Will
otherwise you're going
do.
to tear your throat up.
As I salute. Do-do-do.
We try to save Teal's voice.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to be cautious. Let's take them out before they can hurt someone.
Let's beat them up.
We're gonna do the beat down on you.
Are. Yeah, kinda. Point of no return. We always make sure to mark a point of no return.
Yes.
And that's good game design. Always.
I hate it when they want to sneak all that up on you. Just seriously, let me decide if I want to go forward or not. Don't make it a surprise.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm not going to attempt to make either one of these reeling, even though we all know you have to reel it before you ground it, because it'll recover from reeling. So instead, I'm going to hit this one. I know I can send this one reeling on this turn.
There we go.
So, again, just taking advantage of the turn order manipulation, knowing where we can and cannot act. And that's it.
And that one's gone. Hey, Vero.
Hey, Vera, welcome to the stream.
Glad you could join us.
Yeah. Okay, but now, if you notice, Victoria's going to go, then Naomi before they go. Grounding lasts longer than one action, so... Slap this guy. Slap them. You know, because she's ferocious. And then that shit happens.
Boom.
And now that he's grounded, it doesn't matter that it's his turn. He's going to lose one, so going from a 3 to a 2, but so what? He's still grounded.
He's still grounded.
We're now going to beat the snot out of this guy. Up to and including setting his ass on fire.
Oh, yeah. Burn, baby, burn.
And that's it. There's one left.
Ouch.
And Victoria's now weak to fairy.
She's now weak to fairy.
So I'm going to guard here and move myself just a little bit. And I shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. I wasn't paying attention. Actually, let's see if we can do it this way. Guard. It didn't work. Okay. Guard Naomi. There we go.
We're going to pick on Victoria.
We are, poor thing. Well, she's weak to fairy.
Yep.
Again, just like with the wolves. The wolves howled, made someone dizzy. Anyone who's weak to fairy, the red caps are going to target. Okay, so now we can slap. And I'll get it sooner or later. And now we can ground. And that's it. He's now grounded for 3 of his actions. Now we can beat the snot out of this guy. Which we are gonna.
We're going to need to.
Yeah.
There
Because
we go.
these things hit hard.
Yes, red caps are a lot tougher than wolves.
Much, much tougher. And they blow up.
Oh my goodness, that was terrifying. Are you all right? I am now, and thank you for saving me. I am Twinkletoe, guardian of this forest.
Okay, so Veraclaw, we actually didn't do Dragon Quest this week because Teal was exhausted last night, so I kind of streamed a whole bunch of stuff myself. So starting next Wednesday, we'll pick up DQ11.
Yes, we certainly will.
Yeah. Twinkletoe is a very important character, by the way.
Very important.
Yes.
Twinkletoe, huh? What a very apropos name, considering the large tree here.
Why, yes, that is my home. And who might you 3 be?
I am Phileas Fogg, the adventurer extraordinaire who traveled around the world in mere 80 days. Like, literally, he says it.
Yeah. In case you didn't know.
In case you didn't know.
Boom! There it is.
One of the things that we have in this world is that the fictional characters from Victorian literature, such as Van Helsing, Phileas Fogg, Charles Marlowe, they all exist. They are real people. And their authors are actually their biographers. Or their biopics, whichever one you call it.
Exactly.
So, for example, Miss Bram Stoker would be attending a lecture of Van Helsing's taking notes, and later on would write his manuscript based off of his notes. Phileas Fogg, after completing his adventure, did an interview with Mr. Jules Verne, who then wrote Around the World in 80 Days.
Everyone in the Light Court knows who you are, Mr. Fogg. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
It's good to know my positive reputation precedes me, instead of the infamy of any past misfortunes,
Oh, we know all about that, too.
said so matter-of-factly.
So, what exactly was in the Chinese puzzle box?
And thank God for people like Hawk, who figured out what that is a reference to.
Uh-huh.
We don't talk about that. It is, for those of you who don't know, it is a reference to Teal's favorite horror movie. So,
That's all I'll say.
yeah. Anyway, I'm most grateful. Thank you for recognizing me. I am at your service. Ever the gentleman.
Tell me then, who are your companions?
These are my wards, entrusted to me by Duke Westmoreland. This young lady is his daughter Victoria, and this other lady is her twin sister of sorts, Naomi Ferguson. So yes, 2 different last names, i.e. 2 different fathers.
Victoria? Naomi? Can it really be you?
Do we know you? Stranger danger?
All subjects of King Oberon know who you 2 are, but why are you here? Weren't you with our king in London? Didn't he give you those fairy clothes for protection?
You know, King Oberon was created by, well, in legend, but popularized by William Shakespeare.
Yes.
And he is the king of the Light Court of Fairy.
How do you know about that? Word travels quickly with the wind and the trees. Only full-blooded fairies may use the Silver Road, and teleportation magic is very rare. We were supposed to look out for you two, although I would never have suspected that you'd end up in front of me. So what happened? Shouldn't you be headed to Castle Neuenstein by now?
We can't tell you how many people have mispronounced it. Say it again, my dear.
Neuenstein.
Neuenstein. Neuenstein. She said it right. It's German, and it literally is one of the most popular and I think famous castles in the world.
It is.
Look it up. It is gorgeous. It was the inspiration for, I believe, Sleeping Beauty's castle, or Cinderella's, one of the two. Made by Mad King Ludwig II. Gorgeous castle.
Yeah, funny thing about that, and then castle's in a location protected by magic, so we have to go to Munich first, but then...
Wait, before you begin your story, would you like to come in out of the rain? I can fix hot tea, and you can tell me everything.
By the way, Victoria loves tea.
It's in her blood.
Yeah.
Literally. You cut her open, she doesn't bleed blood, she bleeds tea. If it's not too much trouble, Miss Twinkletwee, we'd be delighted. Some hot tea and conversation is just what we need until the weather brightens.
Come then, let's get out of the storm. Huzzah! Hot tea!
I hope there's biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
Which biscuits, of course, is cookies. Not
biscuits.
Quick note, by the way, the reason they're not acting stranger danger is because the light court are known to be, while sometimes mischievous, non-harmful.
Yes.
And there will be more of that to explain that, so that people don't go, why are they not freaking out?
Right. Okay, and here's my most favoritist map.
Yes, this is all teal. I gave her the outline and said, please make Twinkletwee's Twee and make it as beautiful as you possibly can, because it's basically supposed to be an enchanted interior. And
So,
this is it.
That's what I did.
This is it. And yes, digestive biscuits, Wolf, exactly.
Digestive biscuits. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to talk about this map at all? I do.
Well, is there maybe when there's a point where there's no dialogue box, right?
Not really. Just the scene where
okay.
she was moving. I do know you mentioned at a certain point going really deep into this on your own.
I do want to really talk about it. I can touch on it briefly.
Yes, right. I think, so what Teal has suggested, and correct me if I'm wrong, hon, because I don't want to misrepresent, you're going to one day actually stream this more on a dev level
Yes.
to show how it was constructed.
Right.
So one day you'll have a Teal-only stream, and she will go over this in depth for those who want to know how this was built. So, do the high points.
Because I did a lot of layering in
Yes.
the parallax mapping. I mean, and I took a lot of assets and customized them a lot. Like, for example, see this plant pillar?
Yes.
This is actually the top half of a potted plant. I got rid of the pot, and then I changed the colors of some of the leaves.
Yes.
So I actually painted this plant, and then I just started stacking it on top of each other, changing direction. That's how I got this plant pillar.
When Teal gave me this final map to add the lighting spots and basically pull it into the engine, I was amazed, because little details like a little pot right here that one would fill in this water, and then it's a little watering can. Just little things like
Yep,
that.
I would do that. I had a lot of fun with the plant sprites, the mushrooms in particular. I just love mushrooms. You're going to see mushrooms around here.
Vero, this is parallax mapping.
Yeah, this is parallax. This stained glass window,
Yes.
in particular, the normal asset is a straight stained glass window.
Right.
And I put it on an angle.
Yeah.
I actually changed it and stretched it and made it look like it was on that wall.
Exactly.
So there's all kinds of stuff I did.
There will. As we said, Teal will do a dev stream one day with Photoshop.
Right.
And you can use GIMP just as fine. and she'll show you how this thing was actually built and kind of deconstruct it and just show you this is how Parallax Map should look. Not necessarily as an authority of all Parallax Maps, but if you notice, it brings color around as a journey to the eye, and it's a feast. All right, let us continue.
Okay.
How is the tea? It's wonderful, and the cakes are so moist.
Nom, 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 nom.
Sister, please, your manners.
Not happening. Nom, 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 nom.
And that's why I love Naomi.
I love Naomi so much.
It's very happy.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't care. It's food. It's going in the mouth. Miss Twinkletwee, how are those redcaps able to attack you earlier? I thought the fairy glens like this were insulated from the powers of the dark good.
The balance between light and dark within the Black Forest has been shifting over the past few months. I'm the only fairy of the Light Court left here. The Dark Court are monsters who hate both light fairies and humanity. Their leader in this forest is a redcap who rides atop an alpha wolf.
A little bit of foreshadowing. I see. We must be very careful lest we run into such a creature. And then this happens.
I feel we should hunt down this creature and destroy it before it causes any more harm to Miss Twinkletwee or the forest.
Same here.
Girls, please. I'm responsible for your safety. Also, you just learned how to fight an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I won't allow my fairy halfkin to be harmed by the Dark Court.
Which is important. This is another plot point. We now know that Victoria is a half fairy. She is a hybrid. Her father is a human, and her mother
Is a
fairy.
fairy.
So she's going to feel an affinity to them.
Same here. We can't solve every problem in the world, but we can fix this one.
This is the first step to heroism with the two girls. Probably could handle it a little bit more smoothly, but not bad for a draft. Darn, you girls have me pinned to the floor with that. Miss Twinkletwee is in a tenuous and precarious position. I guess it can't be helped. I'm going to have to assist you both in this endeavor. So Phileas is thinking of his job, which is to get these girls safely to Munich, and the girls are thinking, our friend here's in trouble.
Yeah, the girls want to help.
Right.
Naive, but their hearts are in the right place.
Exactly. And that's going to be something that's going to haunt them. All right.
Fortune does smile upon the three of you, for King Oberon was very explicit that should any of us Fairy Glen Guardians meet you upon your travels, we were to use the powers of the Glens to help awaken some of your latent magical and spiritual powers. You'll be able to use these magical spells and spiritual forces in order to fight onward.
So the idea is you can't actually use a magical spell unless you have that potential inside of you. You also can't use a spiritual force unless you have the ability to be a medium. In other words, you're born with it.
Yeah.
All three of these characters have the latent talent inside of them. The Glen's just going to awaken it. Go ahead.
You're going to teach us magic? Not exactly. The powers I'll bring forth are the simple kind, the most basic of spells and forces. In order to learn more advanced ones, Victoria, you'll need to find a mentor who can properly educate you. Same thing with you, Mr. Fogg. You are fully human, and Victoria is half human. You can't just learn spells like we can.
What about me? I mean, Victoria and I have the same mother, but
I know, Naomi. Due to the incident in Wales, you were forever cut off from your fairy side, as well as any magical spells. However, after what happened, you did develop an affinity with the spirit world, correct?
You know about all that, huh? Yeah, after the incident at Uncle Chapman's party, something inside me changed. I can see and speak to spirits, kinda, sorta. I'm still learning about it, and I'm having some trouble.
Be that as it may, Naomi, you're becoming a natural medium. This fairy cleanse should awaken spiritual forces within you. They're similar to spells, only a little different.
I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. Forces, spells, it doesn't matter so long as I get to blast something back into the Renaissance.
That is a remarkable attitude to have. It will serve you well in your adventures. Of that I'm certain.
If he tries to hurt me, I'll kick it until it stops moving.
Yeah.
Now please, tell me the details of the incident in Wales. I know that the man who was Naomi's legal guardian after her father died was murdered himself as well. What happened afterwards? Those winds have yet to get to me.
You know, you fairies know an awful lot of my personal business. Just point that out.
Right. Where was I?
It does have a habit of talking, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It talks. Hey, guys, wait till you get to the elephants. You're gonna love it.
We couldn't leave the mansion, and we didn't want to just do nothing. So, as the adults worked with the local constabulary, Naomi and I searched the mansion for clues on where the map for the Living Stone could be. We searched every room, one by one, under the guise of playing. The adults never knew that two 15-year-old girls were actually investigating a theft and a murder.
Good thing they thought we were just goofing off, otherwise they would have shut us down before we had a chance to figure anything out.
Indeed, sister. One of the things that stood out was that they had served a strong tomato basil soup at dinner the night before. Immediately, we suspected poison.
But we had no proof, so we concentrated on finding the map. Victoria reasoned that if we found the map, we'd find the murderer.
Elementary, my dear Naomi.
A absolute nod to Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, brother. Even Phileas picks up on it. So, what did you learn?
Too many facts to recount here. Natasha, Mr. Chapman's fiancée, ordered the cook to make the soup. The housekeeper, who shared the same access as the butler, had noticed that the scullery maid had misplaced the arsenic, and the doorman, who was out in the carriage house during the party, stated he had seen a shadowy someone skulking about the kitchen just before dinner was served.
An entire mystery novel worth of clues. Or one moderately long prelude to this morbid story. You decide.
Okay, so,
Again,
yes.
she's looking at the camera.
Right. We don't do the gross fourth wall breaks, but Naomi, and Naomi alone,
Will break the fourth wall occasionally.
Right.
And it is only Naomi that will do it.
right, and in a way that's kind of like, did she just? I
Right.
think she did. That
We
kind of
don't call attention to it.
Right. Okay, so before we move along, originally when we designed this MV demo, and indeed in the original GDD, we were going to have the murder mystery be basically a series of flashbacks like you're seeing. However, after receiving a lot of feedback and having quite a few discussions, Teal and I have come up with a certain plan. Now, the plan's not set in stone.
No, it's not set in stone, but
What we're currently deciding, what we're thinking of doing is making the prologue optionally playable
yes.
and giving the player a chance to experience it. For those who don't want to, allowing it to be a series of flashbacks. We'll be kind of testing that out as we develop. But the point of this is to showcase Victoria's, really her detective skills. She's an intelligent young girl who reads, kind of like Klaus from A Series of Unfortunate Events.
And she has a very high intellect, and we also want to showcase that.
Right. Well, Naomi's just good at noticing things. Like kind of, she doesn't seem like she's perceptive, but then she's like, oh, well, it was like this the whole time, with that thing over there. And you're like, okay. So we want to showcase that because the girls don't get a chance for the first part of the story, for this first dungeon to really showcase their intellect as much.
They don't.
So, again, a lot of it's going to be, hey, what do you guys think? A lot of it's going to be, what does our test audience think? But we're heavily considering making the murder mystery playable. We didn't want to make that a requirement from the get-go because then it would be time taken away from dungeon crawling.
Right.
Now, we know we can't satisfy everybody, and we are not going to try. Our game is geared towards players who want a story-rich, character-rich, in-depth experience, like your Tales of games, not one that's like Dark Souls, or I shouldn't say Dark Souls, but more action-oriented where you jump in and start slapping stuff. we know we're not going to attract every single person. But we also don't want to have to force a person to run around a mansion for 30 minutes if they don't want to. So anyway, moving on. As Victoria says,
Moving along. By the time it was night, we'd figured out that the map had been stolen while Jonathan and his fiancée Natasha slept. Some of the guests had been awake at the time, visiting each other. The butler especially provided information that while he was, with the scullery maid, he hadn't heard anyone moving about the halls.
so for those of you who don't understand, we're talking about sex, assignations as it were,
Assignations.
which is people in the Victorian area had sex.
Yep.
A lot. But it was all behind closed doors and it wasn't discussed in polite society. So even Victoria, who's 15 and ingenue, she knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't talk about it.
So we figured out that it had to be magic.
Said with all of the absolute conviction.
No, sister. There was a mage staying in the mansion. He would have felt the magical signature. We surmised that it had to be a secret passage.
So we give a little bit of world dropping here. When magic is used, other mages, other people who have magical potential, can sense the energy signature.
Yep.
And that does become a plot point where later on Victoria senses someone casting a spell.
Oh. Well,
This also points at something in Naomi's character.
Right.
She knows darn well that they discovered a secret passage. So why would she say it was magic?
Exactly. Okay.
And within the master bedroom, we found one that led right to the servants' quarters.
sure enough, in a hidden compartment in the housekeeper's dresser, we found a map to the living stone.
Wait, I was suspecting the butler. Since, the butler did it. Since he locked the map away.
Ah, but if you recall, we learned earlier that the housekeeper had access to whatever the butler did, in case he fell ill.
Victoria had figured the whole thing out.
So again, this goes back to our plan of we're going to present the murder mystery differently.
Right.
Because we're telling you a lot of stuff, and we always believe in show, don't tell. The current thing is the option. Do you want to watch the murder mystery in flashbacks, or do you want to play it during the flashbacks?
Right.
An option beyond that, which we're also considering, would be playing the entire murder mystery as a prologue.
It could be that too.
So a lot of it's going to be us looking at it, seeing how it plays out, and getting a test audience.
Right.
Oh, hello. Okay, Veraclaw says, I just recently followed you, but I think you shouldn't do this mystery solving optional. If you consider it that it adds value to the project, that's a very good thing. And that's why we're considering the options. It may very well be that we choose either play the murder mystery integrated or play it ahead of time. That might
Right.
be an option. So give them the ability to, as the flashbacks occur, make the flashbacks playable, or get it all over in one chunk. We do want to give options to the players, but Veraclaw, you make sense. Skipping it may not actually be a good idea. We'll take note of that, Teal.
Yeah, let's take a note. Okay.
Victoria figured the whole thing out. But that's when it happened.
Yes. Oh, sister.
What happened? What?
Well, then...
Hey, so, the rain stopped.
Really, Naomi?
Yeah.
Wait, I want to hear about what happened next. I started to get the feeling that I'm the only person in Europe who doesn't know how this incident ended. Even Duke Westmoreland didn't tell me the details, just that I had to get the two of you girls to Munich as some agent for King Ludwig II of Bavaria.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated what happened at the end. Even sister and I don't fully understand what occurred. Just that it did. It kind of makes me uncomfortable.
I understand. Perhaps some other time then, when we're not under so much stress.
I agree. Maybe when we're out of the woods, so to speak, we can finish the story. You do deserve to know because of all you've done for us, Mr. Fogg.
I would be grateful, but please, only when you two are ready. Again, a gentleman.
He's a gentleman.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
The energy of this fairy glen should have finished soaking into your bodies. You should be able to draw magical and spiritual energy into yourself and use it. Remember to use that power wisely. Gifts from King Oberon shouldn't be taken for granted. As for how to use spells and forces, it will come naturally to you. There is no need for me to bore you with the minutiae. Be careful on your journey. There are evil forces out there, not just with the Dark Court. Humans, especially ones who have zealous beliefs, can be the worst monsters.
That's a hint.
Yep.
Thank you. We'll take that to heart. Come, girls, let's get moving.
Right.
Let's do this thing.
All right, so we're going to quickly talk with Twinkle Twee, and then we'll explore. Before we explore, there's a little bit more we want to tell you about the moral journey. But first, let's talk to good old Twinkle Twee.
Yep, we want to get that quest.
Hello, my friends. Might I trouble you for some help? Thank you. I have a friend, a water fairy named Myrtle Turtle, who I've known a long time.
Interestingly enough, Teal, Myrtle Turtle is the most requested character for me to either create in a creative character or talk about. People love Myrtle Turtle.
Well, we're going to have to draw her,
Yeah,
and put her somewhere.
right. For those of you who know anything about fairies, Myrtle Turtle is a Nereid.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in many, many years. Should you come across her in your travels, I'd like you to deliver a letter. Of course. Do you know where she lives? I'm not sure where she lives. It's been so long. All I remember is that she lives near the ocean.
Well, she's going to make it hard, but we'll do our best.
Thank you so very much for trying. I'll eagerly await your response.
And we get a little side quest.
Yep.
Find Twinkle Twee's friend Myrtle Turtle, who lives near an ocean, and deliver a letter from Twinkle Twee. Yep, we have Twinkle Twee's letter.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to explore, and for those of you who have seen the demo before, this is going to be where Victoria has a chance to rob Twinkle Twee.
Yeah.
No other way to describe it. Literally
Yeah.
the RPG trope of going into someone's house and taking their stuff. If she says yes to think, she gets stuff, she gets things. If she says no, she gets bonus XP. That's not going to be how it's represented in the game.
No, not at all.
Part of what we want to do for this and any future Rosenheart games is Victoria and Naomi's moral journey. Now, they're going to be good guys no matter what. You can't actually make the girls bad. Because
Villains, yeah.
Victorian heroes are good people. But you can kind of go gray. Look at the Artful Dodger from Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a good guy, but, I mean, a clean, squeaky hero, but, Robin Hood. A bit of a good thief. So, unlike Nicholas Nickleby, who wanted to do everything the right way no matter what. So Victoria gets these options during the game, and that will base her moral compass, and her moral compass will change. Okay, so yes, we are moving it to Unreal Varo. If you go to our server and look under Rosenheart Progressions, I finally have a battle scene to show. The battle scene does not show any actual sprites from the game, sprites character models. It has an Infinity Blade model as a placeholder. But we've been working a lot on the background logic. So we don't have anything to show as far as gameplay, just a lot of POCs, proof of concepts. All right, shall we explore, Teal?
Let's explore. But just want to reiterate that the girls' morality is very important to keep track of
Yes.
in this and future games.
Especially, not to discount Naomi, but especially our protagonist.
Yeah.
You are, as the player, helping to mold the kind of person Victoria will become.
Okay.
Oh, what is this? A crown just laying up on the floor. Should I take it? It's just one crown and no one is looking. Nope, it's not mine, so I shan't take it. Thou shalt not steal and all that.
And we get some bonus XP, and I want the bonus XP. But here's one that's a little harder. Collection of various things piled together along the side of the room in a neat and orderly fashion. Unlike the clutter one to find in a human home, every item here has an obvious purpose. Meanwhile...
Wait, is this Fairy's Bane? That's an herb that protects against the attacks of the Dark Court, if I recall. Oh, Oh, I see. Miss Twinkletwee must have been using this to keep the redcaps at bay. Well then, there's quite a bit here. Surely she won't mind if I pinch a little. Should I?
So this actually brings in a direct quandary. The items here, I think you get 5 doses of Fairy's Bane, will help significantly, especially in the boss fight.
Yep.
But it's still stealing. So, I'm going to say no, but this one is, again, the moral compass. Is it okay to take something if you really need it, if it helps you in the long run? If it helps you beat a greater evil? In other words, is a lesser evil okay for a greater evil? These are things that Victoria will have to face. Morally gray areas.
Yep.
I'm going to say no because I want the XP.
You know, I don't really need it, and it will be better for Miss Twinkletwee to keep it. After all, we only have to deal with redcaps for a short while. She, on the other hand, has to contend with them every day.
Oh, I hit the
And that's
button.
it. Okay.
Okay, so I'm not going to look at every single thing, but we did describe, and we get on people about. We should get on
I am a stickler for describing every single thing in a scene.
We're not going to do the descriptions. All the LPers have done it, but everything here is described.
Yes.
We are going to just go to the sparkle points. Comfortable and relaxing feel, this inviting looking sofa comes from its plush cushion made of hand-sewn cotton that is stuffed into with soft straw and even softer wool. The frame is made of a solid peach of beech that has been painstakingly fit together using the craftsmanship of what has to be the best brownies in the countryside. Both tea and conversation should be quite pleasant from here. And I hit the wrong one. It's this one. Boop. Nope. Okay, so I guess the coin in here is not there anymore. I must have moved it. Tee.
You moved it.
Okay, but we have this one right here.
Yes.
A beautiful, quaint water fountain decorates this part of Twinkletwee's home, generating both a refreshing mist of clean water that cools down the interior, as well as relaxing sound that eases the mind and heart. At the pinnacle of the fountain rests a metal lantern emitting a soft blue glow. The gentle azure luminance bathes the soft area in a soft sea of moonlight
Moonlight
Thank
tranquility.
you. A simple clay watering can sits on the basin.
Something is sparkling just below the water's surface. Miss Twinkletwee, what is in there? Oh, those are some crowns that a pair of brownies tossed in, thinking this was a wishing fountain. Silly things. Do you want them? They're not much, but they're yours. Do I want someone else's wish?
And this is another gray area where Victoria has to decide. So it's not stealing, but it's kind of taking a wish. So again, this one there is absolutely no right or wrong in the 3D game. I'm saying no because I want the XP.
No, let them stay. They represent someone else's hopes and dreams. Who am I to take them?
Aw, we could have bought a box of chocolates with those in Munich.
Very important.
Now, sister, there will be plenty of ways to earn the all-important chocolate money once we get to civilization.
Boo.
It's interesting, Victoria, that you equate someone's act of wishing with a hope and dream in their heart. Must be the fairy part of you shining forth. And then bonus XP.
Yeah.
So again, all the morally gray areas will be treated quite differently. And then there's this. A lovely dresser carved in elm, likely crafted by a brownie over presumably an extended period of time. The construction is so succinct that there are no nails or hinges. The wood just conforms to the functionality. Atop the dresser rests a single green lantern, casting its chartreuse glimmer into the bedroom, as if the solitary radiance of an angel's smile were passing through an emerald.
A shiny ring is on top. Should I take it?
This is outright theft.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Vero Claw. Thank you. Thank you. You're talking about the 3D stuff. Thank you. Okay, boop.
It is never right to steal from another, regardless of the temptation. That is not my way. I must remain true to myself.
So in this instance, it is outright theft, and it's thieving from somebody who invited you into their home. We will not be presenting this option in the final version. We will, because Victoria would not do that.
She would never steal like that.
Right.
No.
So anything that is straight up pure evil, we are taking away.
Mm-hmm.
It is a designing choice to not allow the characters to become bad. This is not an open world RPG, but morally gray, absolutely. And now we're level 4. Yay!
Yep.
We are level 4.
We're level 4.
Okay, and then this right here. Well, Vero, you mean the 3D stuff in the... Yeah, okay. Talking too much.
So this is
Clutter.
a talking point about the clutter that's found in Victorian homes. Basically, the more clutter you have, objects d'art, bric-a-brac, the better socially you are considered. You are considered a person of worth. It was actually considered very crass, déclassé, poor taste to have a minimalist approach to your home.
Now,
It's all about the presentation.
it is. Let me jump in here. Mm-hmm. It's a difference between the clutter and the bric-a-brac. Like having, this table has little things. These bookshelves have statuettes and stuff, and just a mess. So, for example, if you walked into a room and there were just papers everywhere, that's a mess and that's terrible. Organize your shit. But if you walked into a room and the bookcase had little figurines and globes and such, that is the clutter Teal is talking about.
Your side table has a large doily on it, and sitting on that is a lamp and 2 frame photographs and a small statue.
Yes. That's Victorian clutter.
Yep.
All right. Oh, okay. Vero says, I also want to move from Maker to Unity or Unreal, but I think I need to finish the first project in MV to get some buck. Do you think it's possible to get semi-funded with a Maker game? That is a very deep question. RPG Maker games can sell and can make money. Absolutely. I would look at analytics to see the type of game you're making and to see if it sells, if there's a market for it. If so, yeah. We've never put a Maker game on for sale, not because we think anything less. We actually like the engine. It's a very strong engine, but we want to make 3D games. So, yes, it is possible, Vero, but you're going to have to do some market research to see if your game can sell, and if your game can, what's the good way to market it, etc., and then try to fund that way. But having said that, learn how to do everything in Unity or Unreal by yourself, and be prepared to be a one-man show just in case. Because it is really hard to self-fund a project, and sometimes you just got to do a lot of the work yourself. Anything to add to that, Teal?
No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. And the Studio Blue server is a good place to at least talk about things with that, but it's hard. We could make an entire stream out of funding. Okay, let's go.
The rain has stopped. It is simply wonderful out here.
La la la. Girls, it might behoove you to find other fairy glens in this world. Perhaps you'll gain greater powers and friends. And we got another side quest.
Yep, new side quest.
Travel across Europe and Africa, locating the 6 hidden fairy glens. We've already found one, Twinkle Tweez. Interestingly enough, this intertwines with the other, because when we find myrtle turtles, we have another one.
Yep, that's another fairy glen.
All right, let's get going. I can't wait to test out my new forces.
Oh, yeah, she's excited.
I know, sister. I'm going to really use my magical spells. It's just like in a fairy tale. Now let's go find that awful red cap and alpha wolf and teach them a lesson.
Quite. Also, let's not forget this, girls. You need to both safely get you to Munich and meet Castle.
Seriously.
Seriously. King Ludwig's agent. Right, so quick thing here. In the Rosenheart world, in the Rosenheart games, magic is supposed to be really powerful. It's also not available by default. In other words, when you rest, when you start out, when you go to sleep, your MP is at 0. So your native state is MP 0. You build your MP, or your spirit points, your SP in the case of Naomi, by using a draw command, which also heals you a little bit of your health. A nice amount. So you have to draw magic from the area, and then you can use your magic. That is an intended feature because magic is OP.
Yep.
We have magic at full right here as a gift. When you go to sleep, your MP resets to 0. Also, new scenes, new areas, and such like that, all resets to 0.
Correct.
There's more to it than that. Also, as you spend magical energy within a dungeon, you raise certain things within it, kind of like the effects in Chrono Cross, but we're not going to get into that. That's well beyond the scope of this stream.
Yay, the talisman.
What's this?
That is a talisman, sister. It's used to revive someone who has fallen into a coma from injuries.
Yeah, that would have been useful.
It says mumbling.
Aww.
Oh, sister. I'm so sorry.
What are we talking about?
Oh, nothing.
Playing it off rather poorly. Right, so anyway, if someone is knocked into a coma, this can be used to revive them. It's similar to that spiritual force you've gained, the one called revival, which he wouldn't really know about, so...
Yeah, we're taking that out. Yep.
Got it. Always helpful to have these things lying around in case something awful happens. Well, let's get going with the going.
Naomi.
Naomi's a very brave little character.
Yeah, she is very brave.
You can tell we really love our little characters here. We do love these girls. They're our favorites. We have made a lot of characters over the course of our lives. These are probably our favorite.
I think I saw a path to the east.
All right, let's zooch on through. We're going to get to level 5.
And just, yeah.
Murder the boss. Because this is pretty much at this point a straight up dungeon crawl.
Yeah, yes it is.
There's one more chest where a conversation is had, but it's very brief and it's kind of humorous. On purpose. But first I want to get bit in the butt. Bit in the butt. Talking
And
again.
Naomi mutters.
Yeah, Naomi mutters. She does, by the way. The character does mutter.
It does. It's hilarious.
It lends itself to that. All right, shall I burn it?
Oh yes, please.
Let's burn it.
Set it on fire.
For science.
Yep. Y'all saw those numbers?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's what Victoria does.
She's the maid.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you can do technique and just fire burst.
Yeah.
Which costs nothing, and burn it anyway.
Burn.
Again, for science.
Yeah, no more wolf. Yeah, it's the draw mechanic. You want to explain the draw mechanic again in brief, Steel?
I'll show you. When a character chooses draw, she is going to increase her MP. So the draw mechanic is she draws MP from the world around her, and it also heals her some. Because the natural state is MP 0. Oh, you are totally fine, Vero. I apologize for not being more observant. I'm trying to get through this. I know we're going to go over time, everyone, and for that I apologize. But
this is the director's cut commentary stream, so this is where you hear it.
Yep.
The official explanations. This is the first and last time you'll hear it. Ha 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 ha.
That's right.
That was a mwahaha, by
Yes.
the way. Yeah, we're just trying to get to level 5. Because
Right.
you want to be level 5 when you fight the boss.
And I tried to ground an enemy that, oops. Oh, Naomi.
Well, you know, she's impatient. She wants to get this done.
Yeah.
Victoria is a more patient person.
Much more.
And she got knocked on her butt.
She did. She ain't feeling too great right now.
Ow. Yeah, they're going for her. Yep. See how they're going for her.
They're going to go for her because she is debuffed.
Yep.
Alright, so let's see. We're not that badly injured. I believe we can use Whirlwind. That might help. Use it on the stronger one, see if that helps.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, good. Confusion.
Yes. And now
I love it when a plan comes together.
and she can leech herself and get rid of the dizzy.
Yeah. Heh.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, Naomi goes, ground you out when you hit it in the face.
I'm going to ground you like hamburger.
Oh, God. And then punch
That
him.
would be something she says.
That is. That's very much Naomi.
And he just hits himself. I freaking love that.
I think she just has attack. Yeah, she just has attack magic. So we can use medic and get some free heal. Actually,
So we would call Phileas a pugilist.
yes, he would be a pugilist. Yes. Hello, Emma Ravenwood. Welcome to the
Hello,
stream.
welcome to the stream, Emma. Ah, thank you for the raid, Jack.
Hey, Jack. Well, Emma, we are a pair of developers, and we are streaming the RPG Maker MV demo of our game, which we have moved to Unreal Engine. And this is sort of a director's commentary. We're going over it, talking about why we developed things the way we did with RPG Maker, and what will be different in the Unreal version, as well as give some general tips in game design.
Yep.
You are welcome to watch. We stream Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Although Fridays are just chatting.
Oh, Friday is the chat, and Steel sometimes streams some stuff on Mondays.
Exactly.
Okay,
So while-
let's hamburger this wolf.
Well, while he's confused, it's a perfect chance to do a little extra drawing and get some healing and MP healing in.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Enemy AI. Yes, that's what we're using, Vero. We are using it. And, hey, Jack, if you're here, man, we're playing that game you did, that thing. Messing with him. Get our last little bit of healing in.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, this is our best opportunity to do it.
Hello, Mr. Morphine.
Ah,
Welcome to the stream. We have 17 viewers. That is that's awesome. Thank you for being here, everyone. I think I'm about ready to pummel this thing.
I think you're ready just to knock it out.
Yeah.
In the ground.
There you go.
Me.
It's the Naomi stomp in 4/4 time.
Watch out for that foot, that booted foot.
That's a girl foot.
Yep. Yeah, we can use some of them delicious med kits.
Delicious.
Yeah, so it's nothing like gauze.
Yeah,
Everybody's healed. Cool.
so very tasty.
I love these characters. Alright, let's see if we can get past here with minimal snakeage.
Minimal snakeage.
Meanwhile,
Ah, yes, the magic and mysticism.
so it's interestingly enough, even though this is during the Age of Reason, the Age of Enlightenment, as it were, there was a real return to the romantic side of mysticism and superstition in the Victorian era.
Yes.
People really started to find ghosts, tragic creatures like, a Christmas story, a Christmas Carol. As well as people hiring mediums and mages to help them. In fact, Queen Victoria and other members of, here we go, yes, Robert Lames G, yes, claimed to us all the identity of Jack the Ripper. So at the time, people viewed mysticism, magic, and spirituality and supernatural as this romantic ideal. And we've taken that in the Rosenhearts and brought it to the actual paradigm itself. This world views magic and mysticism in that same light, but except it's real.
And also, Victorians love to hold seances.
Yes.
It was very popular to have, seance parties.
Yeah, absolutely. Did she kill it? No.
No, of course not.
Naomi. Eat the snake up. Your sister hates it. Oh, he missed.
What?
Oh no, she's gonna get bitten.
Oh no!
Poor Victoria.
Oh, somebody help her!
She's already terrified.
Oh.
Poor little thing. All right, Victoria, do better for your sister's sake. Use your.
Come on, Naomi.
Kill it.
Kill it. Kill it in the face.
Here
There you go.
Me.
Now you punch it out.
Yeah. Body slam. So much centered around death and the scandalous sides of life and all the things you generally speak about. Yes. More.
Yep.
Yes. Kumel fault is a huge thing both in the Victorian era and in our game. All things right and proper. Your public face, there is no problem. It's all good. Actually, that's a level 5, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
There we go. Boom.
Followed by a long raspberry.
Yeah.
And that's right, we do not have persistent status effects. We decided against that.
It complicates things too much.
Yeah, even though it's a good callback to older games, to us we found it was unnecessary. And what did I get?
Agility necklace.
Oh yeah, we are going to put that on somebody who needs to dodge. Put that on Naomi.
Naomi. That one needs to dodge.
With its little glass jaw.
What? You gonna do that to my Victoria? No.
Victoria speedrun challenge with only
Oh
snakes.
my
Vintage.
god.
Mean.
Woo!
Oh no. Okay, so we're gonna put this.
You lost a cookie, Ventus.
There we go. And
At least he's got something.
He got a little something. Another snake and a healing font. We can hit later. Damn
Yeah.
snakes.
Oh, these doggone snakes.
Yeah, I know. This is the only part that kind of makes me go, could have designed it a little better. Right?
Yeah, you put too many of these things here.
Well, it only hurts Victoria. And that's where I get fireballed.
You are going to get fireballed. Seriously. I'll make sure she hits.
Uh-huh, she will.
Me.
Also, when the characters use their spells and stuff, they actually will have magic starters where they say things
Yes.
and then say the names of the spells. And I believe for Victoria, we actually chose an actual phrasing, right? For both the names of the spells, etc.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you're not going to do well no matter what. Go
I
ahead.
call upon some of my power. Firar!
Yeah, that's it. That's right. Yeah, Firar for fire, etc., etc., etc. Which is that Latin?
Yeah, I use a combination of Spanish and Latin.
Nice.
Like, let's see, a lightning spell will be Fulgetrum.
Right.
That's Latin.
Right. Well, Naomi, who's not as formally educated, love her to death, will just shout out the name of her spell as it is.
Right.
But since it's a force, a spiritual, since she's a medium, she will actually invoke the spirits when she uses it. Spirits of the abyss, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And the bloodstone ring, so we are now immune to poison because it gets bit
It gets bitten all the time.
by snakes. Horrible snakes.
Yeah.
Terrible snakes.
Mean old snakes.
Girl biting snakes.
Girl biting snakes.
One more. Yeah, let's go through this one more.
Yeah, but what level are we at?
We're very close.
Okay, good.
Alright, so...
Oh, yes.
it's a no-win situation for Naomi, but that's okay.
Yeah, well.
We believe in... Victoria. We believe in Victoria.
We believe in you, Victoria. You're getting the girls confused.
I am.
You're not the one underneath the tent. I'm dying under here.
Give you a shoulder rub when this is over, my love.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's Victoria. So I think Victoria is going to, yeah, let's distract the snake. We don't want to deal with it. As long as she doesn't have to touch it, right?
As long as she doesn't have to touch it, she's okay.
Alright, chilling grass.
That's the question, though, isn't it, Ventus?
That is a very good question. Magical potential does not... It doesn't matter what your social class or anything is.
No.
So in that case, it's quite possible.
It's possible. Oh, goody.
Yay, and we're going to
Level 5.
get... And he gets this.
Yes.
So I will show this to you because this is actually the key to making the boss your bitch. As Jack showed. I'm not Jack, Jeff. Jeff showed.
Jeff did. Jeff did it.
This forces fire type weakness on an enemy.
Uh-huh.
And it
All
does
right.
stack. So now we're going to go grab a last few items, try to avoid combat. And then
Try
we're
to avoid the combat.
to combat, and then we're going to go to the boss. I feel like sticking my tongue out at him.
Yeah, seriously.
Ah, epinephrine. Like bandages, only much better.
Are we gonna have a long conversation about it now?
Oh, God, Naomi.
Because I have this leftover biscuit and it needs to be eaten.
Uh-huh.
No. Let's go.
And that's, of course, making fun of ourselves.
Yes.
All right. So, why do we white Varro? The white-haired characters are great.
Oh, love white-haired characters.
So you can actually avoid the rest of the enemies here, except for the one that I ran right into.
Except for the one you ran right into.
Blindly into like an idiot. So that was a thing that just happened. That's okay. They're only level 6, and this is actually going to be a shitty battle.
The fourth wall has been pummeled.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to react a little bit better. Okay, so let's see. I think the best thing to do is let's use that lantern oil
Yeah.
on the lead guy.
Ooh, yeah!
Okay, so that guy has gone, so I can safely send him... No, I can't. But we can burn the ever-loving horse snot out of this dude.
Damn.
That's what the girl does.
That's the power of fire.
All right, so A has already gone. So
A's
we
gone.
can chase rush A. There we go. Strategy. And now we can body slam A
Yep.
and ground him. So it's now 50% more damage. When Victoria, who can now conserve her MP,
Uh-huh.
does Fire Burst. And he's still that way, so now Naomi can just hit him hard.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Pound
dead.
him right in the mouth.
I got him.
Yeah, she got him.
I took care of the problem.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and guard and move a little bit on the turn order here. And she is going to guard as well. Actually, I could probably draw with her. Alright, and guard. And that will manipulate the turn order enough
Yes,
to where...
always show gratitude to the kindly folk of the wood.
Absolutely.
Use your politest forms of address.
Absolutely. 100%. We're going to do a little bit of drawing here since it's just one left over.
Yeah, I bet you're right, Vero.
You think, maybe? And a little bit of guarding here. I mean, a little bit of draw magic here. Now, all we have to do is guard.
Uh-huh.
And if you see now, Phileas is now behind Naomi and Victoria.
Yep.
So I'm going to have her draw again, and it's going to be Victoria, who's going to initiate the grounding by slapping him.
Slap.
So it's knowing what the characters can do and knowing how to manipulate the order of the turns, the turn order, to where you can do this shit right here. Now that he's grounded, Naomi can literally beat the crap out of this guy. Not dead, but hurt pretty badly.
Oh, yeah.
And for the next 2 rounds, he's hurt pretty badly anyway. So, yeah, he's dead. And that's how you use the system.
And that's how you use it.
In the RPG Maker version. And I guess for starters, not too dissimilar from the, Boo. I got bit.
Ow.
I tried to snipe. Oh, it's just this one. Oh,
Oh, okay, we can do this.
I got this. I got this like a Jimmy Claw. Jimmy Hat, whatever it's
A
called.
Jimmy hat.
Yeah. Alright, punch him in the face.
And of course, you're gonna want to heal before we face the boss.
Uh-huh. And she's immune.
Hee hee. I know that feels good.
It does. Little sweetheart is not hurt at all. Actually, let's distract him while we take care of the snake. Never underestimate the power of Dizzy.
Right.
Dizzy is an absolutely amazing status ailment. Alright, and it's her turn. And just ground him. You're good. So, I don't, so as you notice, I haven't just always grounded everything. I've tried to use other status things to take care. So I have 2 enemies. So I ground the one enemy I'm trying to kill, and then Dizzy the other enemy. So the other enemy's not as strong.
Good strategy.
yes, dizzy enemies have a less of a chance of hitting.
Yes.
Get that treasure chest that I went through hell just now for.
Ha 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 ha.
And there we go. And now we have 100% treasures for the demo, I think. Even if we did, we got close. Yes, this is the CTB, Yanfly's CTB. And no, we are not. The final Unreal version will be a completely unique battle system called the Fate Battle System. I went over it pretty in depth earlier on in the stream. It's a pretty deep system that relies on turn order manipulation and something called a Chronometer as a way of tracking who's going next, whose turn it is currently, and what the turn will be next round.
Ah, good. This special tonic will restore some of my magical energy so that I can cast more spells.
And we have an alchemical tonic. And so we got it. We got a thing.
Yep.
We have a font that heals. And we have this.
Yep.
Might be boss.
Oh, yeah.
So before we go, let me make sure I am good. I am good. I am good. I don't believe I have any loose equipment. Go to items. Yeah. No loose items. All right.
All right.
All right, let's end this thing. And let's see how quickly it takes me. Jeff did this in 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
4 turns.
Something approaches. Something evil.
Oh, yeah, Wolf. Uh-huh.
Okay. I know. You know what? Lystexia. Ventus. There, here we go. Most intimidating enemy ever. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that dangerous thing. Bite your ankles off.
Seriously.
Yeah, that must be the wretched Redcap and Alpha Miss Twinkletwee spoke of.
Watch out, it has friends. Here it comes.
And now we have the boss music.
Yes. This is it, girls. That Alpha Wolf isn't going to go into the ground easily. If we want to make short work of it, we'll need to figure out the correct combo chain.
And we should probably take out the small fry first. We don't need to be dealing with extra Redcap and White Wolf.
Agreed. Let's use all we've learned so far and decimate our enemies. Charge!
Which is the whole truth behind the Fate system. We can crank and tank this sucker,
Uh-huh.
or we can try to take it down with strategy.
Yeah, make a meme.
There you go. This is your first boss fight. You can either pummel your way to the ground or use Qs to ground it and then hit it with elemental weaknesses. Bosses and later advanced enemies will require a complex change to ground and daze. Fight however you want, and most importantly...
Never give up.
And then that happens, and that's how we start.
Of course, because why not? Why the hell not?
So the first one we are going to take out is the White Wolf.
Yeah.
The reason being is that making us dizzy really, really sucks.
Of course.
Oh, we're all going to whoop up on Naomi. Alright, here we go. We can now ground the White Wolf with
Yeah.
Body Slab.
Ow.
Oh, they're just tearing her up.
Yeah, they are.
So yes, I do need to heal Naomi. That is not a thing. Not a question. But
Yeah.
the sooner I can eliminate the 2 minions, the better.
Right.
So in this case, while yes, Naomi is in serious trouble and may even drop, it is far, far, far more important that we make sure that the enemies can't win. That we make sure that the
Those
enemies...
minions go away.
That's what I meant. Thank you. All right. So
Let's talk more fight.
yeah, let's talk more. So where is it? There we go. Item. Use an epinephrine on Naomi.
Yay. You feel so much better.
And now that we have a chance, a brief reprieve, we're going to use magic
Yeah.
and we're going to heal Naomi. Because she's the only one who's been hurt.
There she is. Yeah, see, they keep going for her.
And they will continue to until we cure Naomi of Dizzy.
Yeah.
So we are going to use a leech
A leech on Naomi.
on Naomi and get
And
rid of
it's,
it.
and it's not Herbert.
No, it's not Herbert. Herbert's in her pocket. She's hanging out. So now that that has been broken, Naomi can do something to make this go a little faster. Naomi can cast Spirit Power.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit Power is going to boost everyone's attacks. We're now going to hit even harder. And you're thinking, but wait a minute. What about the red cap? Well, I remembered red caps are reeling and then grounded, and I know that Victoria can send an enemy reeling, so... And I hit the wrong button because I'm an idiot.
Wow.
Well, you know, best laid plans and all that. Oh, we can use degradation.
That's because you're talking.
Oh, hush you. There we go. That helps. Alright, now that we've debuffed, I can get back in the game. Yes. So let's go ahead and do a technique, choose the correct one. So what I would have done was slap with Victoria and then body slam. So, you know, hey, you're going to mess up, go grand scale, right?
Ah, shit.
It's okay.
Now Victoria's dizzied. But that's okay.
That's okay, because we're now going to take care of this dude. Alright, so while Victoria is not in a great space... Thank you, Vero. But, hey, when steel screws up beautifully. Alright, so now we are going to kick some ass over here. He's grounded. We're good on MP. And we're going to hit with Volgetrum, aka Lightning Bolt, which does more damage to this guy.
I call upon some of my power. Volgetrum!
And now we are ready to take this thing very, very seriously. So, what we got to do is we got to know the chain. Now, the chain's been figured out by everyone who's fought this.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, though, is kind of just start getting ready for that by guarding. I could also draw, but Naomi's in an okay spot right now. Alright, here we go. We got him. And this is it. So now, Victoria, slap.
Slap.
Phileas, uppercut. And now Naomi, hitting the wrong button again because I fucking... Look at me. I am great. And that's it. The enemy is now grounded. I am now going to...
Ha ha, Vero. We shall
Yeah.
not speak of that.
So let's see. I think it's probably best to hit him with damage.
Yes.
We're not going to be able to confuse him, but he's also hurting us, so we're going to use Refresh. Everyone's MP is a little down. There we go. There we go.
Sweet.
Meanwhile, and again I say meanwhile.
I forgot how strong her spells were.
It really is. She can do her regular attack. They're actually very strong.
Yeah, they are.
And now, the coup de grace. We're going to go to techniques, and we're going to do this. This is going to deepen his weakness to the fire spell.
Oh, it's on.
That was it. And that's how you do it. Use the exploitation of the enemy, bring out their weaknesses, exploit their weaknesses, and then wipe the floor with them.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Smoke that cigarette there.
Thank you, Davian.
I'm glad that's over. Not that I was worried or anything. We're getting to be all pros at this, sister.
I agree. We should head out to Munich before the sun sets. However, and something worse comes out on the prowl.
So, despite me screwing up twice, Teal, you still wallop the thing's ass because, again, strategy.
That's right, strategy.
You did pass out well. Let's say, it's my voice, Damien.
It's so soothing, you know?
Hey, someone said I had a divine voice, so... Wait a minute. You're not in such a hurry that you can't finish your story. Aw, thank you, Damien. Don't leave me in the lurch. What happened after you discovered the map to the Living Stone? What happened with Naomi? What exactly was the incident?
course. It's a horrid tale, but we did promise you closure.
I hope you feel better, Damien. That's just physical labor can suck.
Just as we obtained the missing map, the culprits identified themselves.
Money is good.
It was the housekeeper and the doorman, working in tandem, just as I had suspected.
Really cool. That's Ventus. That's cool. So you actually did figure it out.
I do love a good mystery. It was simple when you laid out the logic. The doorman was the only one who was alone during the dinner, so he poisoned the soup, and then tried to make it seem like he had seen someone else. Meanwhile, the housekeeper shared the same access as the butler, but hadn't gone off like he had when the map was stolen. As she was the only person with access to Mr. Chapman's safe who couldn't be accounted for, she had to have stolen it. When you looked at it all, it made sense.
So I do want to talk about this. Very briefly, Victoria does come across in these opening things as a Mary Sue, and she is not.
No, not at all.
She has got a great deal of naivete that will literally, in the next scene, start getting taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And as the story goes, especially depending on how you do her moral compass, she does some things that may make you go, well, that's kind of, questionable. Because no character is perfect. Veraclaw says, the aura tells you who the actor's turn is, only shows half of it. So you just draw out half of it or make a full circle appropriately adjusted. I'm not sure what you're asking, Pharaoh, but I'm going to have to read that and answer that in a bit. Yeah, making sense.
Yeah, it had my head spinning too, and the baddies were actually pretty surprised that a 15-year-old girl saw through their onion skin plot.
But I failed to deduce that they were both spies sent from Prussia to kill Jonathan Chapman and steal the map. That ended up costing us dearly. We confronted them about the tomato basil soup, and they admitted to using poison. The soup's strong taste hid the vile brew. They also admitted to stealing the map.
Gotta love how the bad guys always spill the proverbial beans when they believe they have the upper hand.
Yes, that's our girl.
Be that as it may, the doorman wasted no time in threatening to kill us should we not hand over the map. Naturally, we refused, and that is when it happened.
What? What happened?
He threw a dagger at me, and Naomi, she...
Very important.
She threw herself in front of me. The dagger pierced her heart, and she fell. That's when Papa and the others burst in and detained them, but the worst had already happened.
Here comes the train. Do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Splat.
Naomi was dead. I passed out, and when I awoke, Naomi and I were in a room filled with light. A being that could only be an angel spoke into our minds and our hearts, telling us a solemn truth.
Victoria, Naomi, twin sisters from the same high-born fairy mother. Your lives have been a false tale told to protect you from your grave and great destiny. Your souls are tied together. So long as you, Victoria, live, Naomi cannot die. Take this gift, this curse, and become who you are meant to be. Become and overcome. In the end, she awaits you.
My sister, my twin sister. I had always been told that my fairy mother had no other children, and that she didn't want me after my birth. Father, it seemed, had a lot of explaining to do.
I wasn't much better off. Dad had told me that he took me away from Mom because she wanted to keep me in some place called I forget, but it was far away.
Yes, we both had a lot of questions and required a lot of answers. However, for the moment, All that mattered was that we had finally found each other. Sisters. So with my eyes upon Naomi's face, I awoke. When I awoke, I was in the parlor, and Naomi's body had been laid out on the sofa.
It does, and it'll be different in the final version, but yes, it's meant to... Yes, thank you, Vero. Papa moves into comfort.
Yeah.
I'd read in stories that a princess is awoken by a kiss, so I pressed my lips to her forehead. And she awoke!
Hey, wait, when's breakfast?
Boom! And
passes.
father faints.
After some debate, Papa decided to entrust us in the map to his friend in Bavaria. That's when he contracted you to safely get us there in the most covert of manners.
So you see, this whole thing is one giant mystery, and only this guy named Gray Morgenstern in Castle Neuenstein can sort it all out and tell us why we're involved.
Indeed, and that is why Naomi and I have to get to Bavaria. My sister is stuck here with me, and we need to know why. Therefore, we travel to Munich to meet with King Ludwig's agent. They'll get us safely to Castle Neuenstein, where we can finally hand the map over to this Mr. Morgenstern and get some answers. Come now, we should get moving. Munich isn't too far away, and the day isn't getting any younger.
Let's go, sister. I'm hoping we get to sample some of that delicious Bavarian chocolate while we're in Munich. My tummy needs more delicious satisfaction.
And they walk off hands.
La la la.
Wait, Naomi's dead? As in a departed soul, a ghost stuck within a living body? How is it even possible? Does their grandmother have something to do with this madness? What is going on with the Rosenhearts?
What indeed.
Thank you, Ventus, for that comment, by the way. This is a sample of what the world map would have looked like, by the way, if
Right.
we had remained in RPG Maker. It will be like this, only more in the Unreal
Oh,
version.
so much more robust.
It will look like your Victorian-style world maps. You've completed the RPG Maker, blah, 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 blah.
I'm gonna have
Stuff.
so much fun designing the map.
Yes.
Trust me, I'm
So
gonna
much
have a lot of fun with it.
It'll be like your Shadow Hearts or your other type of styles where you basically... Yep, there's us. Thanks for playing.
It is going to be like the Shadow Hearts map of Europe.
Right. Basically, what'll happen is the map will
Inspired
show
by.
up. Go ahead.
No, inspired by.
Yes. The map shows up and you choose a location.
It is going to look like an old world map.
Yes. So, Vero, to answer your question, the aura that tells you who actor's turn it is in the battle scene only shows for half of it. Oh, yeah, Shadow Hearts is great. So I'm not sure if you're talking about the RPG Maker game, all of the graphics for the battle scene, either the background, that's one set of assets, but all of the UI was made by Hyblitz. In fact, the entire UI for this game was made by Hyblitz, which if you're on Stream Hyblitz, thank you. We have
Yes,
been
thank you. Your work is just amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So that's pretty much it. And obviously, we're going to take this to the next level. We've been working very hard on the background logic, especially the level design and blueprints to kind of work the game's background parts. So hopefully now that we've gotten past that first hump, we can start showing more of the actual game itself. So look for in the future dev streams and other things where we actually show. Yes. Yes. Okay, Vero, thank you. Okay, thank you, Vero. All right, so let's go ahead and call it.
Yep.
All right, this has been really good, hasn't it?
It's been very, very good.
And thank you, everyone, for watching, because you got a chance to really see what the world is like and where we're planning on taking it, and the questions were really good. I want to thank for everyone who started joining us and following us, and it's been good, hasn't it, Teal?
It has been very good, and honestly, I enjoyed talking about some of the map work and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, thanks a lot.
Yep. If you like what you saw, lay the smack down on that like button below. Consider supporting us on Patreon. Connect with us over Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and we will see you in the next video.
See you next time.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you